Hey, so I noticed that Brian and Perspic really like talking about me. Okay, I'm kind of indifferent. I'm fine with that. I have no emotional reaction to that at all. It, uh, it's okay. But I figure, we all know what the audience wants, right? Um, And no, I will not. I'm not going to walk into a fucking dog pile by like three or four retards screaming at me at once. That's retarded and gay. But I will have any one of these idiots on in a Discord and I'll live stream it. I'm not going to call that a show. It's literally just going to be like fat gay men calling me a pedophile for maybe 30 minutes to an hour, depending on how generous Perspic and Brian are feeling. I'll let them come on here and say whatever the fuck they want to me. Because realistically, that's what people want to hear. That's what people want. They don't want to hear Brian and Perspic describing me and other known individuals in the sector having gay sex as furries. That's not what people want. You can call that World of Darkness. I just call it gay. But like, rather than have bizarre furry sex fantasies about me and Axel and Grossly, was it? Um, yeah, rather than do that, maybe just like come scream at me in person or online on the internet. I'm uh I have a life, so I'm only willing to do this on Saturday for the time being. Uh, but like I wouldn't be bringing this up, but like they keep mentioning me, they keep talking about me. It's every day with these idiots, literally every fucking day. Every stream, they like 4 or 5 times now. It's like, oh my God, you've been mentioned. You've been mentioned. Like, what do you want? I'm right here. What do you want? Like, um, I just think if Brian Dunn is gonna be he's screaming about how Shaggy's a pedophile, I should maybe be there for that. I don't know. Maybe me like actually having a response to that might be funny. I don't know. More entertaining than Brian's World of Darkness fantasies. That's yeah. I don't know. I I've got to treasure that, Brian. I'm gonna treasure that. But yeah, like yeah, I don't know. I guess like typically after 10 p.m. is a good time to get in contact with me so you can scream at me and say terrible things about me that you it's just that's what the sector is at this point, right? Um, I'm game. I'll play. I mean, I'm not gonna let you all yell at me at once though. That's just listening to you guys complain. Yes, like you could pre-record that. But yeah, if Brian or Perspic or if you guys want to fucking if you feel the community should address my behavior or some shit like that, whatever the fuck. Um, yeah, because I'm bored. Like the sector is boring as shit lately. Like I don't know why you're trying to start drama with me, but okay. I mean, let's just get to it. This is fucking lame as shit the way that you guys run from me like bitches. Like, I know, calling me like, you know, a sex offender or whatever the fuck bullshit you guys come up with isn't really gonna work. Uh, because I don't really give a shit what you have to say to me about whatever lies you want to come up with. That's really juvenile and gay. Uh, but like, if it's anything other than that, like, I mean, if that's all you've got, I think I can handle it. Like, honestly, um, I don't know. Um, let me go to the chat. Uh, why not? Uh, but yeah, I just think like people are keep mentioning me, and now I'm in weird Dungeons and Dragons scenarios involving fur fetishism. I'd like, if you guys are gonna be be making up these kind of weird stories about me and sharing them on the internet, I'd like to address that. I'd just like to address that. I think it's funny as hell. Um, uh, back when I was 16, I had a few Werewolf the Apocalypse and Vampire the Masquerade. Mage the Ascension I liked best, as I recall. This was when I was like a young teenager, though, dude. I didn't think an adult would be like invested in that series. Um, I prefer Call of Cthulhu. But like, okay, if you like that sort of, uh, but yeah, I liked Mage the Ascension. Back in the day. I thought that was pretty based. Um, but I always remember there were these weird faggots who would like actually pretend they were vampires. Now that trend was dying by the time I was aware of the product, but still. Uh, anyway, um, but yeah, I'm just like fucking. The content has been boring lately. They seem to want to like I don't know. Uh, like I figured it was like if you don't want to engage me in some way, why keep bringing me up, you know? Uh, but yeah. Uh, other than that, shit, I don't know what else. Nothing much, I guess. Fuck. Uh, kind of just went live because I'm a little bit fucked up right now, and I'm bored. So this stream is gonna suck. Like, I mean, this, like most of the content I make here, this is gonna be dog shit. Uh, but what else is going on other than that? Um, playing Darkest Dungeon again. That game is fucking epic. Uh, like, It's like imagine you play as the quest giver who keeps sending adventurers to their fucked up deaths, right? You're basically a dude with a question mark, right? And the adventurers show up to the village and you send them onto shit they're severely underleveled for, and this world has no resurrection spell. I don't think you can bring people back from the graveyard. And the gods are Lovecraftian in nature, so um, that's pretty fucked up. Also, people worship fire and light. Um, and so at the apocalypse, they burn their own cities down. And everyone goes insane as Lovecraftian deities like possess people. It's an apocalyptic medieval scenario. Um, it's it's sort of reminiscent. It has the same sort of vibe as Ravenloft did before it got woke. Uh, hold on. One good thing is if I ever wanted to do a Dungeons and Dragons game these days, because mechanically I like Fifth Edition a lot. Mechanically, Fifth Edition in some ways I like it better than 3.5, but you know, it's just the setting has been like imagine there's a book series you like, and then they make a television adaptation of the that book setting in the modern day, and everyone is race swapped, and some people have pronouns for no reason, and it's like imagine that, but they did it to the setting of a role playing game, right? Um, yeah, that's a good way to describe it. Like everything is now slightly less edgy and a lot more safe and frankly gay. Like it's like suddenly all traces of even the concept of homophobia is gone from the setting. There's all sorts of warnings against being homophobic to players. And the fucking game has like recommended hand gestures in case someone gets triggered, and it's like, what the fuck is this shit? And they've really fucked up the setting of quite a few of elements of the classic D&D core setting. What I really fucking hate is what they did to Ravenloft. But you can just take the setting of Darkest Dungeon and use the fifth edition thing to like homebrew a pretty good setting based on that shit. Right? Like just like some classes could be ported directly, actually. Um, yeah, I really like Darkest Dungeon. It's fucking Lovecraftian and shit. Well, 3.5 is really good. Really fucking good. It that to me is the golden era. It's probably to yeah, that would be the golden era of Dungeons and Dragons. Was I think in some ways second edition was more creative. Um, but 3.5 was the most fun. 3.5 is the most fun. It's just fifth edition uses Forgotten Realms as the base setting rather than Greyhawk, and Forgotten Realms is better than Greyhawk. Like I don't like just being real. Greyhawk is it's cool. It's just like it's the other Forgotten Realms. And even when it was the core setting for D&D, it was always like sort of second best. Everyone likes Forgotten Realms. Greyhawk is the world your core books are referring to unless you buy the other product, which I think may have been intentional. Um, but like any like fourth edition sucks, but everyone knows that. No one's gonna advocate for fourth edition. Um, not unless they're just being contrarian. Uh, Greyhawk was okay. I mean, I never really got into it. I liked it as the background for Darkon and Forgotten and Ravenloft, rather. I just of all the games like to put me in a bizarre sex fantasy, and they chose World of Darkness, and that to me is funny because World of Darkness was always like the to me it was like the Marilyn Manson goth version of Shadowrun. It was like Shadowrun, but with more of a focus, but for goths, basically. It was the goth role playing game. You know, I honestly sort of grew disenchanted in the whole idea of like the idea of high fantasy version creatures in a modern setting seems cool at first, until you consider how our world would just it wouldn't work. Like it's just a ridiculous premise, and unless like it's like a it wouldn't look like where we live now. Like you can have high technology and magic in the same setting. That's great, but it's not like stuff like Shadowrun, basically. And I'm trying to think of the other side. D20 Modern, which is basically just Shadowrun. I it doesn't really work for me. Um, Drow Yakuza and shit. That's like, yeah, no. It's Spelljammer. Yeah, fuck yeah, I like Spelljammer. Fuck yeah, I like Spelljammer. And that's the one thing 5e really did improve in the lore. Because now, like, you've got outer space and a separate dimension where science rather than magic rules, which is our dimension, as well as the astral sea, which replaces the phlostogen, which was just like flammable bullshit. And it, I never really liked how that one aspect of spell. I thought adventures in space should be in space. The astral sea it makes more sense, and the way the spelljammers actually work now, I like a lot better. Like um, how does this bring us closer to God? I had a idea in church we had for a game called Might and Miracles, which would use the fifth edition Dungeons and Dragons rules and classes to create a homebrew for being you know an Israelite during the time of the Nephites, or another setting from the Book of Mormon or the Bible, the Old Testament, like during the Roman era, maybe. Um, we never actually managed to get around to that, though. It would be a cool idea, I think. Because it doesn't require too much tweaking to like put that like to use like biblical Israel as a setting for a Dungeons and Dragons game. Like you wouldn't be able to just use shit from the monster manual, obviously. But if you homebrew some like basic like demons and you wouldn't have to alter vampires or werewolves or shit like that. You could get a pretty good game about Nephites, you know, uh, fighting cannibals. That would work. Um, well, Conan is an official setting. I have the Age of Hybor, whatever the fuck. Let me grab it. Let me see it. What was it? Conan the Role Playing Game by Mongoose Publishing. I have that. It's Dungeons and Dragons. This is an official Dungeons and Dragons product. I've got the official Conan's and Dungeons and Dragons setting, but that's for classic third edition. Um, you know, you could easily use Hyperborea as a setting, though. You'd have to like use rules from fifth edition because third edition is frankly not as good as 3.5. Third edition has a lot of really classic books, but I wouldn't use anything from third edition. I'm just not willing to put the work in. Um, uh, Even if I was running a Pathfinder first edition or um, a 3.5 system. But honestly, so far as systems go, I like fifth edition the best for actual use. I love prestige classes. That was a huge aspect of what made third edition and 3.5 edition so cool is that it was like you could build something super specific and cool um, that reflected something unique about your character. That was what I always liked about it. Um, I like the way the fifth edition Warlock works, though. Um, oh shit, I should probably open my fucking Discord, huh? Oh hey, Toxic called me. Let's see if he'll answer. Hey dude, what's up? We're live.
You
Uh,
there?
yeah, I'm here right now. We're on my channel though. I'm live right
Yeah,
now.
I noticed.
Yeah,
That's why
good.
I hit you up.
Yo, did you watch that fucking fan fiction that Brian Dunn made about me and the Council of Evil?
When was that? Did you send it to me?
It was live the other night. Have a look. They get when no, you don't have to watch it right now. Basically, Brian Dunn made up a weird gay fantasy where me and DJ Axel and Grossly Offensive turn into werewolves and have sex with each other. And he described and he
That sounds
described
funny.
it Yeah, he described it live. Oh, also, there's child rape and cannibalism. Like we rape and eat children in the story as well. It's some real
You know
like
what's weird?
it's some real shit.
What's
Like
weird is he thinks that's an insult to you, but really it just makes him look fucking disgusting. Like he's having fantasies about you guys fucking each other.
yeah, he that's yeah apparently, and it's some real like shit you'd expect to hear on the short bus. Let me tell you, it's real fucking bad.
Now on your clip, uh, that I put up on Max Toxicity, who were those two dudes arguing over? Was that
Oh, that's the
cops
two of them. That's
saying
the
he's
dudes
not
I'm
gay?
talking about. That's the dudes I'm talking about. The one they were telling stories about me
That
and my
faggot.
yeah, that's those faggots. They're the ones talking about you know, really
Well, that lie
well,
detector
well,
test
I mean, you can
registered that
yeah,
he was lying.
I'll link it to you right now. If, like, let's watch it. I mean, fuck. Um, we can go to my channel. I'll play the audio. Hold on.
Yeah, fuck. That's fucking hilarious.
Yeah, this you won't believe this shit. I This is just the gayest
He's
shit
the
ever.
gayest. He's the gayest fuck in the world, dude. Like
I can barely just hold
he
on.
pretends not to be gay,
See
but
about raping
he
me
doesn't
that
realize
he
he's so fucking gay. He
I
leaks
don't
gay fluid. He
actually I don't
leaks gender
actually
fluid.
I don't want to watch one of my own videos, but I'll link it. I'll link it to you. It's 11 minutes long. It's me just
Dude,
going.
he's
Get
so
watch
gay.
this
He sweats gender fluid.
here. Here. Watch this and then call me. All right.
All right, we'll do.
All right. Let me see here. All right. Um. Let's see what's going on here. How much meth do you smoke, Shaggy? Meth isn't my thing, man. I like downers. I don't like uppers. Um, yeah. So Toxic will be back after he reviews that shit show the other night. I'm gonna treasure that one, as I said, Brian. I couldn't have asked for a better early birthday present than that. That it warms my heart that you would so willingly humiliate yourself for my amusement. Um, I don't know. I can't stop you from having gay fantasies about me, Brian. I can't stop you from doing that. That's what gay men do. Uh, you know, I just wish they weren't fur fetish fantasies. That's all I can say. And I wish they didn't involve children, but I'm not the one composing these stories, right? I'm not the author of these stories where you heroically watch like people you want to hate on the internet rape each other and have sex with children. Um, that's yeah, okay. No, I don't fuck with meth. I don't fuck with anything hard. Like cider and weed is all I'll fuck with, and weed is enough to kill me if I do too much of it. Um, like, basically, I'm pretty sure I just got a promotion, so I'm entitled to celebrate a little. Um, Look, I'll repent in the morning, Hausmeister. I can repent tomorrow. Yeah, he does frown on it. He's not fond of it. He's not a fan. Uh, uh, let's see. A Catholic? God, no, I'm a Mormon. I repent by telling God I'm sorry about doing it and actually feeling some shame about it. That won't take long. Um, I said I got a promotion, not a raise. No, I'm not falling asleep. Uh, this is just, yeah, dead air. This is not there's no music intro to this or anything. I just decided to go live because I'm bored for now. I'm kind of bored right now. I don't, this is not, uh, yeah, I'm just live for fun. God, no, I don't touch heroin or fentanyl. No, no, I don't do anything like that. Oh, I would call Brian. I would call Brian. It's just he's got me blocked. They hide from me. They hide from me. They don't. They don't want anything to do with me. But yeah, no, I totally like that's what this was originally was. Is like they keep mentioning me. They keep making up these gay stories about me. I'd kind of like to ask them what's up with that. I'm kind of like to ask them how many times Brian has used me as as a an effigy in some sort of homosexual narration involving rape or child molestation. I want to know if it was just once or more than once. You know, like I'd like to hear exactly how he narrated this to his players. Is this? I mean, can you even put that on YouTube? I don't think he can. I actually think he already covered that. Whatever whatever narration he gave his players was so intimately sexual and grotesque involving child rape, he couldn't repeat it on YouTube. I don't know why he shared this with everyone. Um, but I have a lot of people blocked. But those people typically fuck off. They don't make up gay sex fantasies about me and lurk in my Discord, picking fights with Dark Ninja, trying to start shit between me and Shamu. Like, there's kind of a difference. It's like I don't know when like I have to take that fucking World of Darkness shit as some sort of challenge. Like if I don't respond to that shit, I don't know. Like I have to at least say what the fuck. I have to at least offer them the chance to like explain this shit. Like, what if you like found some dude who like supposedly hates you, like making up gay fantasies about you and living them out through Dungeons and Dragons sessions with like severely degenerate people from the alphabet community? Like, would you not be a little bit like, would you not want to say something? Would you not want to like maybe like say, hey, I know you despise me, but this is a little bit cringe, buddy. This is just a little bit, something about this ain't right. Uh, I, uh, I don't know. I think it would be a pretty keynote conversation. I'd like to hear what other weird fucking scenarios he's uh, he's fantasized about involving me. Um, you know, some would say one is too many, but I want to hear what else what else he's thought up. Uh, you know, uh, Chad King. Which person are? What is your alt? Are you Soberman? Like, who are you? Like, I ban a lot of people. I have no fucking clue who you are. Like, if you catch me in a bad mood, I'll probably ban your ass. Like, this is not an arena. You're misunderstanding the nature of things. I'm sure Brian went to sleep. I don't take issue with that. But this will be up for like a day. I'll leave this up. I'll leave this to hang out there for like a day. He'll see it. Uh, uh, y- you know. But yeah, I'm just like I've seen your little story about me. That was gay. Do you want to explain that shit? Are we just gonna like, okay, okay, you're doing that then? Uh, I mean, I can't stop you. I can only laugh at you. And I'd like to laugh at you in an actual conversation. I don't know. Um, I don't know what the Angel Studio movie is. I have no idea what that is, Leo. What about Billy? Uh, Billy got raped and killed and stuffed in the fridge. And that was the end of Billy. Billy ain't breathing no more. Anyway, um, I I don't know if this is Kino. This is me enjoying the weekend after a lot of bullshit. You can jump in my Discord in the rape van. In the rape van. I'm going VC hell. Uh, uh, yeah. So if you want to call in, now you can.
That's taken my place. And that's it. That's what
Nicholas
happened to
attempted to
Phil.
sue.
Phil's
What the
old. He's
fuck?
washed. All of his supporters are going to PWR now because they know that's where the real meaningful content is, where the real positivity is. And so therefore,
I
Phil
guess we're
is
getting
washed and
Kino
cooked, and
Casino.
he's
I
going to
have
be
no idea where
homeless
that's
soon.
Fuck
coming
you,
That's how
from.
Phil.
things go in the lightning fast, career entertainment industry. And no, none of that money from fans will be going to Phil. That's going into my personal.
So there he is. He snaked Phil completely at this point. He snaked Phil because he knows now he's starting to get money. He's like, listen,
Oh, I
people
see
aren't
where
going to
that's
give me
coming
money if
from.
they think it's going to Phil.
Yeah.
So I have to tell them
Oh,
I'm not
that's
going to
live
give
right
any
now.
money to
Shit.
Phil. So he can get all the money. He's just discarded Phil and left him in the trash. The year of the snake continues. I thought this guy was going to
The Kino Casino's on. Probably gonna go watch that, I guess. Um, that's live. I thought that was like, yeah, they're live right now. Shit. Let me just see how my chat's doing. Rather go watch Kino Casino. Um, I'll hang out here. Leo, do you have a way? Like, oh, you don't know my Discord. Okay, friend me, and I'll add you. Uh, it's Saint Shaggy at Shagster Shaggy. Um, Hold on, let me see if I can. Copy. Maybe this will work. I don't know. Okay. Enter the rape van. Hey,
Oh,
what's up?
is this the Mormon hotline?
No, not exactly. What's up?
What's up with you? Why are you
Uh,
so mad at Brian?
I'm
Oh
not
shit.
mad. I'm just, I don't know what you'd call this. What would you call it if someone you find to be like funny but in a retarded way, and you find them having gay fantasies about you and sharing them with their friend? Would you be pissed off? Would you laugh? I mean, at first I was sort of shocked, and now I just find it endlessly hilarious. I want to ask him why he decided to share this with everyone. But realistically, he's not going to have an answer. He's just going to scream at me that I'm a pedophile, and then he's going to run
Well,
and
are you a pedophile? Why does he
no,
think you're a pedophile, Shaggy?
because
Do you
I
know why
said
he
that
thinks that?
Batman molested his children. I believe. I believe that's what the legend was. Or something. I don't know. It's gay internet drama. The thing is, if it was just
Yeah, but
me,
why would you say that? Why would you say that to him?
because
Like that's his kids,
because
bro.
he because that's actually a good question. The answer to that is I feel that the way that he uses his daughter as a fucking torpedo to like say fucked up shit about people on the internet, and it's funny because it's a little girl saying it. I um I guess the
Yes.
easy answer is that it's something he wouldn't be beneath. He'd do the same thing. Like, it's not something I'd say
Uh,
to a respectable person. Like, I've said that Ethan Ralph is a bad father, but I'd never say the sort of shit about his kids that I'd say about Brian's kids. Because realistically, I can't imagine any good apples are going to fall from that tree. A whole family just needs to be,
well, that's.
sent
Don't you
on
think
a
that's a little
happy
extreme?
Disneyland
Don't you think
Sent
that's
on
a
a
little extreme
happy
to say?
Disneyland vacation.
Like you are on the stream right now telling me you're okay with child murder, basically.
Only if
And
God
then
says it's
is it
okay.
really is it really
Only
that
if
far removed?
only if
Is it really
God
that far
says.
removed to think you're a pedophile, Shaggy?
Well, all
Let's be
right.
honest here.
So you know what? It's I'll be. Let's be honest. It's a fair question to ask of anyone on the internet, and if you ask that question, you should at least be serious about it. So seriously, no, I actually work with children in the real world. I have to pass all sorts of background checks and shit. I mean, I'm too fucking stupid to get away with a secret that dark. Like, I would have been caught by now. Like, no, I'm not a pedophile. It's a ridiculous notion. I actually do more to help people who've been abused as kids than any of those people talking shit ever will. And that's probably on a single day, right? I have more experience helping and working with abused children. At one point, I was the on-site residential counselor while I was on the internet and doing shit live with my face like in a camera and shit. I was living on site at a location that was a boarding house for many kids, almost all of them I would say had been abused in some severe way, many of whom had been abused in the worst ways. Um, like, no, it's ridiculous to, like, honestly, I'm the last person who would turn out to be that in this community.
Okay,
And
Shaggy, if that's true,
yeah,
then good job. I respect that. But at the same time, you're wishing ill on Brian's
yeah, his
children.
entire family should just
Brian's,
just be sent off to Disneyland,
but
is what
his
I'm saying.
children haven't done anything. Yeah, the apple doesn't fall far from the tree
The
and all
infection
that.
must
But
be stopped at its source.
God
But I'm
also
also,
looks
but I'm
down
also, God
on
also knows
people
I'm
who
bull.
harm children. And
All
I
right,
think wishing harm on children is not that far
all
removed,
right,
Shaggy.
but
I don't think
here's the
saying
thing.
stuff like that is
In
good
my
for your soul,
defense,
bro.
God knows I'm bullshitting. Like, you'd have to be retarded to think I'm serious when I say that.
Speaking evil into the world, even if it's ironic, even if you're bullshitting, saying certain things is speaking evil into the world, and certain things shouldn't be said,
I
even if it's
disagree.
ironic, even if it's bullshitting.
So here's my position on that is a bit complicated. In principle, I agree with you, but in practice, shit is so slimy that it really isn't lowering the
But you are
tone.
just as slimy, Shaggy. You are just as slimy as Brian.
Yes,
Like,
but
Brian,
but here's the thing. Outside of being on the internet and just fucking around a little here and there, and mostly when I get when I have a relapse, mostly when I've not being the good Mormon I should be. Um, you know, sometimes I will like have a bit of fun on my fucking OBS.
but it's
Right?
not a bit of
But
fun for other people.
oh
Like,
no,
those
but
are
this is
Brian's children.
but
Like, you should understand that it's not a bit of fun for him.
Brian will happily use his children as projectiles in any war on the internet. He cares far more about fighting with people on the internet than
I
he
don't
does
believe
about
that.
those kids. Oh no, I 100% believe that. I believe he cares infinitely more about yelling at Josh Moon or Ethan Ralph or any of these other people than he does about his own children.
Okay, but wouldn't you
Look,
then,
look,
you're someone who
trust
works
me,
with children, you just told me.
Brian was once my best friend. We went to Florida together. Brian and I actually
Okay.
went to Florida and we went to Disneyland. We called it Brian Fest. It was epic. Um,
Okay, I don't know if you're bullshitting me right now,
no,
but
I'm telling
if
the
that's
truth.
true,
I'm telling the truth. People will tell you that I went to Florida with Brian Dunn. We stayed at a hotel. It was great. We met Daimyo in Gahul. It was awesome. Um, you know, um,
yeah, okay, but this guy used to be your friend. You met him in real life, so he's not just an internet guy to you. And you're saying really bad things about him and his family. Like, shouldn't you remove yourself from what other people say about you?
hold on. Leo is
Okay,
still.
hold on.
I thought you were Leo the friend. Leo is still trying
I
to.
am Leo the friend.
Oh,
No,
good.
no, no. I'm just trying to make fun of you. I'm just bullshitting in the chat with the
That's
guys.
that's fine.
Yes.
Uh, yeah. So where are you from? Where are you calling in from?
I'm from Denmark.
Huh.
Why is that surprising?
Yes, that's very surprising. Anyway,
Why? Do I not sound Danish?
no, you don't.
What do I sound like? What do you think I am?
South African.
South African? Yeah, okay, you got me. I'm from South Africa. I'm South African, saying Shaggy. Okay, but let's get back to it. Like, you used to be friends with Brian.
Yeah,
you met in real life.
Me and Brian would hang out in real life. We would smoke weed together, and on many instances,
You'd smoke weed with Brian then?
yeah, many times he would smoke weed and hang out. And one day he started just having this
For no
massive,
reason.
well, all
For
right.
no
So
reason at all.
we were at the gas station, right? And you know,
No, not the gas
he
station. You were at the
he
gas
was
station with Brian Dunn?
and
Oh, that's a
he
that's a.
was he
Was
was
he pumping your gas?
no, I was getting Red Bull. I wanted Red Bull, and we were on our way
Okay.
to hang out with this dude he knew who I wanted to buy weed from at the time. And
Mhm.
Brian, he starts just going on and on about Mr. Medicare, and I don't know who Mr. Medicare is, right? At the time, and he starts like talking about how Jim is gonna fuck his whole life up and how he can't take
When
it
was
because
this? What
he's
year?
getting
What year is
bullied
this?
on
What
the
year are we
internet all
talking
the
about?
time. What? I don't
What year are
know.
we talking about?
I don't know exactly. I don't fucking remember. I just what I
But
remember.
was it pre-COVID or post-COVID?
It was before COVID.
Okay.
And so he's like yelling about how Jim is bullying him, and I don't know who Jim is. Is Jim Medicare? I look on the internet, I find out about all this shit, and I'm like whatever. But one day he decides he's gay and he starts hitting on everyone, and I'm like I'm not like that. And he was being like gay, but like doing a really shitty job of trying to keep it secret, right? So eventually someone like he got found out as gay, right? And then he starts blaming everyone, literally everyone, for having like told people he was gay. Apparently he just tried to suck everyone's dick that he knew, right? Um
Mhm.
yeah, so
But how do you go from that to wishing his whole family would just cease to
well
exist?
that's
Like I think
because
that's a huge jump.
well yeah, but I mean, do you really believe I actually think that, or am I just saying that to piss him off?
Yes, but like I said, bro, like even if you're bullshitting, even
Which
if
I
you're
am,
ironic,
yeah.
there's certain things you should just not say, bro.
No,
And like, I hope your whole family dies is definitely one of those things. Like, if you were saying, yo, Brian, kill yourself, whatever, that's one thing, bro.
listen. If his whole family died, I wouldn't say it. But since his whole family hasn't died and they're not going to, I don't particularly have any qualms about it. It doesn't matter what happens to his fictional children on the internet. To me, I don't care. Obviously, if his
Yeah,
children
but that
actually
seems like a
die,
cope, honestly. Like
yeah,
now saying, oh, it's
I don't
fictional children
actually.
on the internet,
Yeah,
like they're not
I
real to
don't
you, but you
honestly.
know they're real. Like you've met Brian,
And I hope it
you know
pisses
they're
him off.
real.
And I hope it pisses him off.
Yeah,
Brian decided to
but you
go
have a
around
feud with Brian. It's
trying to
okay,
suck
but
everyone's dick.
why? An eye for an eye only leaves the world blind, Shaggy. Like at some point, you have to leave the shit behind you. And saying, "Oh, I hope your whole family goes extinct." I don't think that's
Listen,
neither Christian nor is it good
I
behavior,
don't
bro.
really hope his whole family goes extinct, but I do hope that they all burn in hell forever. No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. I I I don't have any genuine ill will towards the man, but it's funny to see him get pissed off and start screaming about me at the end of the
Yeah,
day.
but you come on the stream, like you can say, "Oh, he's doing it for no reason." Like
Oh no, I
you
don't. I
are on
know
this
why
stream
he's
right
doing
now.
it. I know why he's doing it. I didn't say for no reason. I think it's fucking hilarious, and I think it would make good content to like ask him questions like, "Why did you do this? Why did you decide to upload this to the internet?" It's a bit gay. And you see, the thing that makes that funny is that Brian Dunn is gay, but cannot admit to the fact that he's gay, even though he's been caught many times being gay.
Yes, but do you really believe that providing
That
this content is worth your soul? You know, is it worth the degradation of your character and your morals to provide this kind of content
no,
to people?
I'm in good standing with the church as a Latter Day Saint. My grace is assured through,
Well,
an actual
would you
point of
share
view.
what you're saying right now on the stream with your church? Would you show the stream to one of your church members?
No, most of them are
Would you
old.
show it to your pastor or whatever you call him
No, I would not show this to
over
anyone.
there?
I don't think I'd show this to anyone outside my age group. And only
So
then
you're
if
not
I
proud
thought
of
they
this
would get
work.
it.
So
Among
you,
among people who would get this sort of shit, yeah, I'm very proud of it. And the other
yeah, but
Mormon,
are the
and
people who would get this sort of shit, are they really the most moral characters? Are they really upstanding citizens? Is that the kind of person you want to prove yourself to?
so
I
that's
think what you're
interesting.
doing here.
You'd ask that. I used to think very highly of Surfer. There's a guy in this community because I thought him to be a very moral individual. I mean, he's not as moral as I once thought he was, but he's in this community. I don't hate the guy. I'll occasionally chat with him. He can be an interesting person.
But are you someone, do you honestly think of yourself? Like, just honestly answer this for me. Do you believe you are someone who can judge other people's morals?
It's no, I don't see it as about that. I see it as this part of the internet, the sector is so grimy that it is, when in Rome, like
But if it's so,
people come on
no,
here to be retarded.
that's ridiculous, Shaggy.
I've got a psychotic man child
That's
screaming
not how the church survived for thousands
every
of years,
day.
by becoming the Romans. If they were just like the Romans, if the Christians, the early Christians decided, oh, I'm going to be just like the Romans, the church wouldn't have survived, Shaggy. Like what you're saying is, it's totally dissonant from the person you want to be.
Look,
Like your behavior on
my
here
point
is,
here, my point here is that the dude's constantly calling me a pedophile on the internet, and now he's making up stories
yeah, and you are
about me and
wishing
other
death
people
on
I
his
know.
children.
No, I'm not. Let me just say was I do
Okay.
not wish
Yes.
death on the children of this individual or any individual. I don't wish death on anyone.
Okay. But honestly, some of the things you say on here, Shaggy,
That's the
like,
point.
can you really blame Brian
Yeah,
for
I can
firing back?
because he's an adult.
The people you have associated with.
If he's
Yes,
like
I'm listening.
if he was like 15 or some shit like that, I'd be like, yeah, he might not really get it. This might be like over his head, but he's an adult. Like, here's the thing, if you're going to cheapen the accusation of pedophile to anyone I don't like on the internet, in my mind, you're as bad as a woke retard who's calling everyone a Nazi. Like, you don't know what the fuck you're talking about, and you should shut the fuck up because it's a more serious issue than you're capable of understanding. And it's annoying to hear from a fucking idiot who has never even bothered to study the issue before using it as some sort of cudgel in an argument where his only goal is to get some sort of social credit. I find that abhorrent. So that is my ultimate point there is that I have actually seen some of the really fucked up shit that this world can dish out on the innocent and the vulnerable. And it's part of why I have the fucked up sense of humor that I do. It's kind of gallows humor. But I actually, in the real world, do shit to help. I don't fucking moralize on the fucking internet all day and then like get pissed off because someone broke some gay ass rule about what you are and aren't allowed to say in the absolute gutter of the internet. Like, I don't particularly give a shit about how offended Brian Dunn is because Brian will go around calling literally everyone a pedophile. If it was just me, because I've said some rancid shit to Brian, if it was just me, I'd be like, okay, you know what? He's pissed. He has a right to be pissed. But he calls literally everyone a pedophile. Now, I don't like Godwinson. Godwinson is kind of like an unlikable retard. I just I don't really care for the dude. Um, like I don't kick it with incels, but like the guy isn't a pedophile, right? I don't fucking like
Right?
I don't like DJ Axel. he was this gay dude that the Council of Evil would just pick on relentlessly. We had him around. He's sort of like Andy Ditch. He pretends to be retarded so he can live off the government. He lives in a shed and can't stop masturbating in public. He's a lolcow. So the Council of Evil would keep this guy Axel around. We'd jokingly like refer to him as a member to bully him because he was retarded. Um, and Brian would always give it to Axel the worst, right? And like when you're gonna call someone as disabled and retarded as Axel, if you're gonna call him a pedophile, that's taking advantage of someone who's disabled. Axel is many things, but at the end of the day, he's just someone who's severely mentally disabled. He's not a danger to children. Um, you know,
But don't you think that even a disabled man can be a danger to children, especially a disabled man who cannot stop jerking off in public? Don't you think that that man could be a danger to children? Is that so? Is that so?
well, his family
Uh,
actually keeps him in a shed, and he knows to stay where he's told. He at worst he'll throw a tantrum and smash up the shit in his shed, but he won't actually leave it unless he's told to. He will play like he's constantly like being caught talking to kids on the internet, but that's because he hangs out in like
don't you think? Okay,
Disneyland.
honestly,
Well, yeah, but he's
the
like
more I hear
obsessed.
about this guy, the worse
Yeah,
it
but
gets.
you have to understand, he's like semi-retarded. He's really into shit like Hot Wheels and Shrek and like he's legitimately into the Hercules movie by Disney. Like he's not fucking all there.
Yes, there's a lot of autistic people in the
Yeah,
world. There's a
he's
lot of
not a
autists.
and it's like it's
But
he's listen,
even
he's
when
one of
you're
those
autistic, you can be a danger to children,
yeah, but he
Shaggy.
isn't.
You have to understand that.
He isn't specifically. He's only attracted to cartoon animals. That's something he's sort of known for on the internet is his
But
fixation
you
and
said
obsession
he's
on
talking
cartoon
about he's
animals.
talking to children on the internet. Do you
Yeah,
think that's a good idea?
yeah, yeah, but like that's it's not
Like
so.
let's assume he's not a pedophile. Let's assume he's not a
Yeah, he's
pedophile.
like
Let's paint the whole
legitimately
picture.
retarded. He's like legitimately
He's
retarded.
okay. He might be, but just being retarded doesn't exclude you from
Oh,
being a
he shouldn't be
pedophile.
on there. He shouldn't be on there. His family are absolutely abhorrent for letting him use the internet that way. I know he has a caregiver. Someone like he can't. He shits himself. He needs someone to wipe his ass for him. So he does have a caregiver. Um,
Yes.
y- you
But do you
know.
think associating with people like that and keeping him around to make fun of,
Well, that
do you
was
think that's a
Brian.
good
That
idea?
that was literally Brian. Brian was the one who
But you were
initiated.
okay, so you were not participating in that.
No, I mean, absolute. Well, I mean, occasionally, I would convince him to hit himself.
What? To
I
kid
like
himself?
hit himself, slap
Oh,
himself in
yeah,
the
why would
face.
you do that, Shaggy? Like, okay, I
I
didn't know a lot about any of this stuff, and it honestly sounds to me like you're a pretty terrible guy,
look,
Shaggy.
look, look.
Like, how can I walk away
I
from this and not
admit
think you're a
I
piece
have
of shit?
confessed before God that that was wrong. I have confessed before the Lord that I should not have done that, and I have paid extra in tithing that I might
Yeah,
be.
but you're still here. Yeah, okay, you paid your church a little more money. That doesn't help the retarded guy stuck in the
Well,
middle of nowhere, stuck in the shed, or the kids he talks to on the internet.
well, I
But
mean,
honestly, you how are you altering your behavior? How are you a better man now than you were then? You're still here.
I was
You're still
I
talking
was
about all
given
this shit. You're still wishing death on Brian's
yeah,
family.
but
I
now
don't really think
but
you've
but
moved on. I
but
don't think
now
you've become a better man.
I have well no the church has confirmed that I have I now have the
Yeah, you paid your church $50, and the church says you're a better
yeah
man
sure
now than you were
I
yesterday.
paid significantly more money than that for them to tell me that I'm a good person. Okay.
Yeah, but do you think that? But are you a better person now, Shaggy?
Well,
Do you honestly believe you're a better person now? Because if you ask me, I don't believe it. Like, according to your church, who you paid $5,000 to, like, okay, you might be a better person, but I honestly don't believe it. Do you really think? Do you think God believes it? Do you think God believes you're a better person now, Shaggy? If you're truly honest with yourself.
Well, look, I think that the Lord, grades on a curve, and I've done a lot more good.
The Lord can forgive, but you have to actually repent, Shaggy. You have to actually alter your behavior.
Listen,
You actually have to become a better man than you used to be.
I often feel very ashamed of myself, I'll have you know.
I don't believe that.
Well,
because if you were, you wouldn't continue in this behavior, Shaggy.
Look, I'm just.
I believe you hate Brian more now than you used to hate Axel. That's what I believe. You want to make fun of Brian now the same way you used to make fun of Axel.
Well,
you just think making fun of Brian is more moral, and you're moralizing it to yourself. When all of this behavior is not God-fearing, it's not good for the soul, and you're gonna.
I've got someone else who wants to join this. I'm gonna try
and judged for it, Shaggy. Yes. Okay. This has been. You want me to stay in this?
Yeah, stay.
Because I think it's gone on long enough.
Stay,
like you can. Okay.
Stay if you want. I'm not gonna hold you here, but by all means, I don't think I'm gonna be able to get him in here. Leo, can you not find like? Let me see who's up in my Discord because I'll make them do it instead. I don't want to do it. Here, I'm gonna.
Can you not add people to this call?
Yeah. Okay, Leo.
It should be above the call. There should be a. Yeah. There should be like a thing where you can add friends.
Yeah, Leo. What's your handle on Discord? Well, and Leo, thanks. That was helpful.
No, he wants just put your handle in the chat.
No,
like,
I don't. I don't use my old account, Leo. Axhole got pissed because I started spamming like pictures of this guy from the band Mayhem after he blew his brains out. I kept spamming it into his Discord.
Okay, I just put your handle or your Discord handle in the chat if that's okay, Shaggy.
Okay. No, I don't. Yeah, put my Discord handle in the chat, and
I put it in the chat so Leo friend can add you.
Awesome. Yeah, no, that's my new one.
Yes.
Yeah, no,
You'll figure it out.
I no longer use the old one. That one is actually completely defunct. That's the one that Soberman, who was apparently these two gentlemen, have hard evidence that Soberman was, I'd heard this from multiple sources that Soberman tried to use this AI these guys were playing with to generate child porn. And that he'd be
what kind of people do you associate? Like, I don't want to hear this shit.
I hate this guy. I've been this guy's been like bothering me.
Why do you hate that guy? Because he generated child porn, or what is the reason?
Okay. I don't hate Brian. I legitimately hate this guy. I don't use that old account that Leo's talking about because one day like Axel got pissed and flagged it, right? But I'm not Leo. Fucking Soberman had sent like hundreds of messages to that account over a period of 2 years. Like he just like obsessively started like having a conversation with my shadow with account that no one was active on it. And like the dude would like obsessively spam, but I assumed he was just
Leo sent his friend request.
Oh yeah. Yeah, no, Soberman.
Can you add him to the call? Is that possible?
Hold on, I'm about.
We'll get back to Soberman. I'll remind you later.
No, I'm doing it now.
But Leo has been waiting so patiently.
I'm doing it now. Now shoot. Hold on. Hey. What?
Okay, did this work?
Yeah. I think so.
Yes.
Long time no talk, Shaggy.
Hey, what's up? how are things?
Well, I've been listening to what's happening. There's some beef, I guess, with Brian. I didn't know you knew him before COVID. That's
Oh,
wild.
yeah, we used to hang out. We went to Florida together.
Because the Matoker stream was 2018 or something around there. So it was definitely before the pandemic, but it's pretty
Yeah,
wild. Yeah.
yeah.
Also,
But no,
is our caller? Are you really from Denmark?
Brian and I were
No,
once
I'm from the Netherlands actually.
Brian and I
Okay.
were once really good friends. We ran a private detective agency together, actually.
Was it exceptional?
It was. It was very exceptional.
Well, listen, man, it's good. So my old YouTube channel got nuked. So I'm only following you now on my new one. That's why I'm just like Leo friend. But I don't keep up with the sector at all. You are the filter, the lens by which
Oh yeah,
I
it's a real
focus. So you
shithole.
do bring the Kino.
It's an absolute shithole in the sector, let me tell you. But Kino Casino, Brian and Ashton and Andy, they're actually doing really good. They put
Shut up. That's not true. You know that's not true.
No, I actually enjoy their content. I really do.
You pay them.
Why?
Like your tithes.
I give
Why
them
would
some
you?
money every now and
Why?
then.
Shaggy, what do you like about the Kino Casino? What is there to like about the Kino Casino?
Well, all right. So it's a
What
never-ending
do you
lot.
enjoy?
All right, I'll tell you.
Do you enjoy the clapping Worski does between every 5
Do
minutes?
you want to let me answer? Do you want to let me answer?
Yeah, I'm sorry, Shaggy. Yeah, answer.
No, I really don't like the clapping. But I mean, the fact of the matter is they have to pad that shit out all day because they're trying to make money. But the show is basically a parade of retarded people who have made complete asses of themselves online. And, PPP and Andy will basically feature them as fucking clowns or jokers, if you like, and you have a laugh at them. You say, hey, at least I'm not that douchebag, and you move on about your day. It's a guilty.
Okay, that's exactly what I think people who watch the Kino Casino watch it for. But don't you think that's punching down? Don't you think looking at
Look,
someone and thinking, "Whoa, at least I'm not that guy"? Do you really think that's a good way to live your life? That's a moral way to live your life?
Well, I mean, as I said, I actually do a lot of good in the real world, and I'm not perfect. And okay, so yeah, I invest a lot of my time in watching people, but they target people who deserve it. People like Andy Ditch or Nick Fuentes, like people who
Okay, they
not.
haven't targeted Nick Fuentes in years.
Well,
They
no,
haven't touched
that
Nick
is not
Fuentes
true.
in
That
years.
is not true. They target Nick Fuentes fairly regularly. And I've got to say, I'm glad there's someone targeting Nick Fuentes with influence in that sphere because he really is a danger to young men. Young men who get
He is true.
tired with being associated with him. They're
Okay,
like,
but they spend honestly, Shaggy, this is bullshit. Like they talk about Nick Fuentes. Okay, maybe it's not been years, but they talk about him like once every 3 months. Like most of the show is
I would
making fun of
honestly.
extremely disabled people. Of extremely disabled people, they can't really defend themselves.
Who are you referring to? That's extremely.
Well, the newest guy is PWR, the DSP fan.
DSP is
Like, what do you think about that one?
DSP is just that guy. Well, I you know what, you bring on a
I mean, do you look at
if you
PWR
bring
and then you
on
go, oh,
a
at least I'm not that guy?
Oh, Dent, yeah, I look at him and I think I'm not that guy because it's like if you bring on a fucking monkey, of course people are gonna throw rocks at the monkey. Like I don't know what to say. I don't feel bad for this meth addict that
You
hangs
wouldn't
out
feel
with the
bad about the rocks being thrown at the monkey. You would animal torture is just okay for you, Shaggy.
I'm not talking about a
You would
literal
throw
monkey.
a rock at the monkey.
I'm not talking
Yeah,
about.
we're talking about a human being.
Well, yeah,
That
of
makes
course
it
I'd
much
throw a
worse.
rock at a
And
human being.
good,
Fuck
we're
the
not
human
talking
being.
about literal rocks either. So that's
Yeah.
another point.
Well, I mean, yeah. So in theory,
But
yeah.
hurling insults over the internet at a retarded guy, you
I
really think that's a? I mean, anyone's open to criticism, but just making fun of people
they're
all the
good at
time
what they
for what reason?
listen. Ashton and Andy are
I'm
good at what
listening.
they do. So occasionally I throw them, a few 20s. Occasionally. Now, I haven't been able to do that because my bank is being a bitch and I have to take time off work to go bother them. But yeah, no, I don't mind giving them money if the show is good.
Yeah, but the show is making fun of disabled people online. Like
I don't think
you're just pointing at a guy and saying, "Hey, at least I'm not that guy." Like that's the point of the show. That's not a good way to look at things. That's not content either.
Well, as Ashton,
Shaggy, that's
as
just
Ashton says, you know,
yes.
they're not a nice show. They're a mean show, but they give good advice, and they do. Like the
They
shit
do
that-
not.
They do.
What can Ashton Parks and Andy Worski give you advice
Like, so
on?
are you
Andy
calling-
Worski,
are you calling
Andy
Ethan
Pires
Allen-
is a guy who lived with his parents
Who among
his
these-
entire life. He's lived in the same room for years on end, for decades. And you're going to take advice from a guy like Andy Worski? Do you really think Andy Worski is above PWR?
Andy Worski is just an upgraded surfer. All Andy Worski does is, amplify.
No, he
what-
isn't.
Look, what he.
No,
his-
he isn't.
what
Worski
a-
couldn't kiss surfers' boots.
Look, his
Like,
job.
Worski is not fit to lick the ground surfer walks on.
Regardless, his job is to affirm what Ashton says in an entertaining way, and Worski is very good at that.
Okay, do you believe Ashton is a moral character?
Yeah,
Do you believe Ashton is actually the God-fearing man he pretends to be?
So far as the teachings of his church, which I hold as inferior to my own, yes, I think Ashton is a good person. I think Ash is
I
probably.
also hold your church to be way inferior to my own, but that's besides the point.
What church are you in?
I'm in the old Catholic Church of the Netherlands.
That's pretty cool.
Do you even know the difference between being an old Catholic and being a Catholic? Do you even know that there's a difference?
Is that because of Vatican II?
No, that's because the rejection of the Vatican that's here in the Netherlands, in the Dutch Catholic Church.
Are you sedevacantist or? So I know that not all, like. Are you sedevacantist or do you have like some anti-pope?
No, it has nothing to do with Kant or anything. It's just the old Catholic Church.
So you guys have Latin Mass? Is that the difference?
Yes, it's just the Catholic Church without a pope in layman's terms.
I study religion. I like knowing about things. I understand the difference between your the flock, the lay ministry, the actual clergy, and whatnot. I understand how your pope is chosen. I understand the.
We do not have a pope. I just told you. There's no pope in the old Catholic Church.
So what do you think about
right,
Our Lady of Fatima?
So it's like
the
the
Marian
Orthodox Russian
apparitions?
Church.
No, it's not like the Orthodox Russian
you
Church.
don't-
It's
so you
just
don't have a patriarch
it's a
either.
Catholic Church with a Protestant structure. There's no like patriarchs or anything. It's not Orthodox rite. It's Catholic rite without popes, without all the organization.
I admit I'm learning some things here. I didn't know that there were any Catholic organizations that rejected the Pope without being considered sedevacantist or some other branch of the Orthodoxy.
Yes, I have to look up what the actual English name is.
So what
I
do you
can
think
give it
about
to you.
like the Marian apparitions, like Our Lady of Fatima and others?
I think those are visions of angels, maybe women who are part of God's
But I'm
family.
asking our Catholic friend here. Do you believe those
fair
are
enough.
actual visions?
Yeah, okay. The English name is just the Old Catholic Church. Yeah, you can look it up on Wikipedia if you want to read about it. That's how you find it.
That's nice. I don't have a negative view of Catholicism. I prefer Mormonism, but I'll say that whether or not it makes sense to join the Mormon Church today.
Okay, but this has been derailed a bit. Like, let's get back to: is Ashton Parks really a moral guy? Because I think
as far as what his church teaches, yes.
How can you be like any Christian church that puts really any stock into being actually Christian cannot look at a guy like Ashton Parks and say this guy is moral?
I don't think
I don't
so.
believe that.
I think,
I don't
you've got
believe
a
that.
lot of people who work in current media who are every bit as ruthless when it comes to journalism, if you want to call it that, if you want to call it gonzo journalism, I don't know. But I think Ashton Park should be held to the same standard we'd apply to modern media. We lower the tone for
Yes,
people
and
like.
modern media. I don't lower the tone for modern media. It's either you're 100% a Christian or you're out. And I think a lot of people in modern media have sold their soul. And I don't think it's worth selling your soul to
I don't
Satan
think
for
Ashton
for a
has
few
sold his.
$100 and
I don't.
making fun of retarded
I
people.
don't think Ashton has sold his soul, and I don't think that he makes a living
You really
making fun
don't
of.
believe he sold his soul.
I don't think it's entirely fair to say that he makes a
You
living making
think
fun of.
going to a
Hold on,
gangbang
hold on.
with black hookers in Vegas is not selling your soul? Paid for by an internet pay pig
Look,
who
look, 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 look.
wrote fan fiction about sleeping with his own children? And having a guy like that pay for your black orgy and gangbang in Vegas? You don't think that's
So
selling your soul?
I don't think that's real. First off, but if it is, sleeping with prostitutes is not the be all and end all of sins.
Okay,
That's
but it's indicative of a lifestyle. Like it's not just the one thing,
no,
but
we
it's a
all know
major thing.
we all know that all men are drawn to certain of the seven deadly sins, and I think we all know that gluttony and
Yes,
appeals to
but if
that.
you go too far, Shaggy, if you become
I
a slave to the sin, you are too far gone.
I don't
And
think that.
he's not
No, I
seeking
don't.
redemption.
No,
He's
well,
not trying to better himself.
so
He's slipping further and further down.
first off, do you even believe that it's possible for him as a Protestant to achieve salvation to begin with?
I don't believe anyone is beyond salvation. I don't
But
believe that.
all right, but you do know this is a Protestant, right? You would probably find fault with him regardless on a moral basis.
I can remove myself. Yes, I would definitely find moral fault with him, but I don't think just because he's a moral fault, he's beyond redemption. I don't think that's what any church teaches.
So
I
you
don't
don't
think any
find,
Christian.
and that's what I'm saying. I don't think Ashton is beyond redemption. I think that
Not seeking redemption.
Ashton is a
He's not trying to get redemption. He's
I think
slipping further and
I
further,
don't
further
think.
down.
Let me tell you this. I don't think Ashton and I would be the best of friends. I think Ashton would probably find me very annoying very quickly. But I do think that Ashton is. So I'm not gonna pretend that Ashton is just the greatest guy in the world. But Ashton does have a very strong sense of what he believes is right and what he believes is wrong. And I believe within reason, within reasonable amount of forgiveness for a human being, yeah, he's a very moral person. His job,
Okay, but
how he makes his living.
Don't you think? Do you really think he has a good sense of what is right and wrong? Like he entirely flip flopped on his whole position on Israel because he got money from Gabe Hoffman.
I don't.
The entire flip flopped on his
All right, so
whole
as to
entire
that,
position on that.
I see. I don't think he's really changed his position because someone gave him money. I think he's willing to say what he's paid.
Okay,
to
but
say.
if he hasn't changed his position, he's become a false preacher for a false god for a cause he doesn't
But
believe in.
it's like when I say Brian's kids should die. You're supposed to know I'm full of shit. You're supposed to know I'm full of shit. I shouldn't have to stop.
Yes, but no. Like there's being ironic, and there's just speaking evil into the world, Shaggy. There's a difference.
Evil has to actually manifest as an intent to do harm against the world.
There's no evil manifesting in Israel. Do you really think there's no evil manifesting over there?
Oh, yeah. The Jews are incredibly evil in what they're doing. I think there's great evil, but if Trump is right and if we get Gaza for Christendom, okay, all right, fine, a little bit of genocide. It'll have to do. So, I mean,
no, that's not. Do you think Jesus would agree with you there?
No,
like taking back Palestine for Christendom, a little genocide is excused if you do that. Do you really believe exterminating some of the oldest Christian groups in the world in Palestine is just going to be washed away because we're going to take
I
Gaza back for the Christendom.
well,
That is
when you
no,
put
that's
it
just
that
retarded.
way, when you put it that way, it does seem kind of dumb. But like, still, the idea that we get a few new states is pretty badass. And
No, it isn't.
uh,
No, it really isn't. Like, what's going to happen if Israel takes Gaza? Like, what happens with all this Palestine shit? That's not good for
well,
Christendom.
I was more thinking when we
All
take
those, all
Canada and
the
Greenland.
oldest Christian groups in the world are being slaughtered, are being reprisal killed because all of the things that happen in Israel and in Gaza. That's what's happening. Christians suffer because of all of this shit. And
Well,
supporting it in any way, even ironically,
look,
is one of the most evil and
I'll say
anti-Christian things
this:
you can
one
do.
of the biggest problems in Christianity today is people are lukewarm about it. I don't know how it is in your country, but over here, you have a lot of people who identify as Christian, but they don't. That means nothing. It doesn't influence their conduct. They don't go
Do
to
you know?
church.
Do you know, Shaggy? Let me ask you this: do you know what the oldest Christian country in the world is? The first Christian country that adopted Christianity and is still Christian today.
Syria.
No, it's not Syria.
That's where the term Antioch, Syria, is where the term Christian was coined.
Yes, but is Syria Christian today? Is the
Doesn't
state
matter.
religion of Syria
It
Christian?
doesn't matter. The holiest city is Salt Lake.
No. Do you know, Shaggy? Because I will tell you if you don't know. It's okay if you don't know, but I will tell you. Do you not know?
No, go ahead.
It's Armenia. Armenia is the oldest Christian country in the world. It has been Christian in an area that has been overrun by Muslims. It would have been very easy for them to convert and be spared a lot of suffering they had to go through. But they didn't. They never turned their back on Christ. And you know what country Armenia is at war with? Azerbaijan. In Azerbaijan, the entire military is funded and trained by which third country in this equation? Shaggy, can you tell me?
I would guess Israel.
Yes, Israel. They trained the entire army. They gave them all their weapons.
Israel is evil as fuck. Don't get me wrong. I think Israel is evil
Yes,
as fuck.
but supporting a country like that, even ironically, as a Christian on the internet, is speaking evil into the world.
Okay,
and I don't think they're doing it even ironically anymore. I don't think the whole Israel shilling is ironic. And it does blemish your soul as a Christian.
Listen, if Ashton in any way takes legitimate joy in the deaths of Palestinian children or Jewish children or any children, his soul is certainly in a very bad state. Personally, I don't support the war, but here's the deal. I don't think Trump is serious. I don't think he's off making that as an offer. I think that's a threat. He's threatening Israel. If you keep this up, we're going to be your neighbors and we're not going to take your shit.
Okay, but what Trump is doing is one thing. Like, he's playing a whole different ball game. He's doing geopolitics.
Yeah, but
Ashton is an entertainer on the internet. He's a content creator on the internet, and he's unironically shilling Israel to his audience now. It's not ironic.
All right, yeah, but
but
here's the thing. I mean, I can't speak for the rest of Ashton's audience, but I'm no drooling monkey who's gonna bend over for Israel. And by the way, let's be honest.
But Shaggy, you do think Israel is going to convert to Christianity when Christ appears on the Mount of Olives and presents his pierced hands and feet?
I mean, I believe that
that's your eschatology. That's what the LDS Church teaches.
Okay, sure. Then yeah, I assume that yes, eventually the Jews. Here's my take on since we're on this subject. We all know, I assume we all know that the Talmud, the book that the Jewish religion today is really based on, that's only about as old as the Quran. That came about like 600 years after Jesus died.
But Shaggy, Mormonism is the original Zionism religion. Mormonism is the original. Mormonism is the original Christian Zionism, even before the term Zionism was coined. In the 1830s, Joseph Smith talked about the reestablishment of Jerusalem.
Listen, as horrible as the tribe of Judea are with some of their Moloch worshipping practices today, that aside, we must assume there was holiness in the pre-Talmudic religion of the Israelites, upon which our faith is based, with Christ being the Messiah of the God of the ancient Israelites. Now, as a Mormon, I consider myself an adopted Israelite. I was adopted into the house of Manasseh through the authority that can be traced to Joseph Smith, who was made a king over Israel by God in Christ, right? And sent to establish new members of the
So
defunct
will the
tribe.
New Jerusalem be America? So the prophecies in Ezekiel,
Well, it was
Jeremiah, and
supposed,
Isaiah?
yeah, it was supposed to be yes, but then God got pissed because they murdered Joseph, and henceforth the only prophets he sent were prophets for the Mormon Church, as opposed to prophets of the people in
I'm
general.
just confused why the Community of Christ and the other LD, they're all camped around the Independence, Missouri spot spoken of in Doctrine and Covenants.
We do believe
Like,
there's a holy purpose for America that can be realized if we work together to bring it about, but I'm not learned enough in the specifics of that. But there
well, it's
is,
like, you
but
know,
yeah,
Luther, when
we
he,
have political intentions. Yeah, the church has political intentions and holdings, and a lot of it involves, I would hope that it's a plan for some sort of theocracy. I think like, if
so
they
you want a theocracy. Did Jesus want a theocracy? Didn't he reject all the kingdoms of the world? Didn't he flee from being made to be a king?
I don't think you can interpret that necessarily as a rejection of theocracy. I think that the Bible specifically endorses
What
theocratic
statecraft did
monarchy.
the Son of God use? What statecraft did Jesus use? What influence did he try
Monarch.
to enact in his life?
He did not claim to be an emperor or a president or the leader among
And he
hosts of
said to
angels. He claimed
Pilate,
to
"My
be a
kingdom is
monarch.
not of this world."
Yeah, Kolob.
Yeah, I am aware that's your interpretation, but any Christianity that places any special purpose to the tribe of Judah is fundamentally
The hand of
misunderstanding the gospel.
so the tribe
No,
of
Judah is
Judah.
special because of Christ, not the other way around. The line of the tribe of Judah, prophesied even by Balaam in the book of Numbers, is because of Jesus. So basically, Judah is only special because of Jesus, not the other way around. And
Okay,
the
great.
Spirit, like basically, the Spirit of Christ is Israel all around the world. It's not a physical location in the Middle East. And the fact
Well,
that
yeah,
anyone,
no, I
the
agree with you.
Catholic Church with
I
the
agree
original
with you.
Zionists really go back to Rome.
I
Any
agree
battle
with
for the
you,
Holy
and
Land
the
is
church is,
nonsense.
I
and
disavow.
if this is true, and it's mostly I can't confirm it because it would be involve top secret shit. But if what you're saying is true in the Mormon Church, which it possibly is like trying to establish a theocracy, I would at the very least hope that they would
Their
fucking well,
their
they would
influence is
probably they would
everywhere.
call
You know that?
themselves Deseret, right? Because as they've said, the Mormon Church holds Israel is wherever three or more Israelites are together. In other words, yeah, it is in your heart, is how that's to be
Yeah, and they
interpreted.
renamed it to Utah because of the Native Americans, and Brigham Young
Well,
had to
they wouldn't.
basically.
We tried to get it called Deseret, but there was court shenanigans, and no, they wouldn't let us do it. We wanted to call it Deseret.
Okay,
Yeah,
Shaggy, I have
mind
to
you,
get out of here. So sorry if I'm interrupting, but I
Yeah,
have to
no
get out
problem.
of here. But the chat wanted me to ask you about Euros. They wanted to know if you know
Euros
about a guy called
decided,
Euros.
yeah, Euros decided to stream live gay porn to his YouTube audience, which included children, and then got humiliated by his wife on some live stream with a gay man in America. I don't, and that was the last that was heard from him.
With a gay, so he's not living in America?
He lives in America. I'm just saying, the guy who's talking, like he was obsessing about sector shit in this space of people who had no clue what he was talking about. I had no clue who they were. He's a very confused individual.
Okay, so do you think he's a pedophile or a child harmer because of the things
No,
he did?
no, I think he's a retard.
Okay. Well, anyway, thank you for talking to me, Shaggy. It's been fun. Have a good rest of your night. Goodbye.
Yep.
well, yeah, Shaggy, I'm glad you took me on the call. It's just because since we last spoke, the Mormon influence has only gotten so much stronger in this country.
Has it? I thought it kind of waned a bit.
J.D. Vance, in his book Hillbilly Effigy, actually wrote positively about the LDS Church. J.D. Vance has actually only said positive things about it. Angel Studios, which is that Mormon production company in Utah,
Yeah, that's
is
great.
making films.
Listen. A lot of that, what you're talking about, is Utah culture, which I'm not from Utah, and I think LARPing, as if I was from Utah, would be pretty fucking gay. Um, I don't. I'm not. I don't know Angel Studios. I don't watch movies made by the Mormon Church. I imagine it to be something like Seventh Heaven, which is a horrible, horrible
Well,
show.
it's like they have huge financial stake in PureFlix, which again, I'm sure you don't watch that stuff either. But
What the hell is that?
it's a streaming service for the most basic MAGA Christians in this country. Do you know what syncretism is?
Yeah,
Shaggy?
it's when one religion adopts pieces of another into itself in order
Yes,
to survive.
the merging of it. Yeah, and Mormonism is practicing syncretism in mass to all the different the shattered plate, if you will, that Joseph Smith was trying to put together with Mormonism. It's happening in this.
I don't. I see the opposite. I think Mormonism is. It's a lot like. Let me put it to this way. The current iteration of the Mormon Church feels a lot like the current edition of Dungeons and Dragons in a much more well, it's streamlined. It's like a lot of it's a lot easier to understand, to get a lot of the main points across, but a lot of the more esoteric stuff is um
Yeah,
just
the
not
exoteric
presented.
is what they're syncretizing with. That's why they removed Mormon. They call it the Tabernacle Choir. They're expunging the term Mormon. Now it's
Yeah,
LDS.
I think that's pretty dumb. I'm hoping the next prophet will reverse that. But listen,
So are you in the Aaronic or Melchizedek priesthood if you have your temple
Melchizedek, I
garments?
have my garments, I have
You
everything.
have your garments. You're in the Melchizedek priesthood. No
Yeah,
way.
yeah.
Oh man, Shaggy. You're gonna be going, or you're gonna be the one performing the signs and wonders when stuff goes down.
Well, I hope I ain't alive for the apocalypse. Shit. But I try and I'm happy that I was able to.
Well, I hope President Nelson brings back polygamy, because then the white and delightsome race can then
Yeah,
repopulate
I
this
can't
country.
even find one woman to marry, let alone multiple. I don't give a shit about that right now. Like all the women around
You
here
got to move
are.
to Utah then. No, it's a Californian Mormons. It's not.
I'd have
Gotta
more
go to
luck
Utah.
in Nevada. It's the women around here are almost entirely nose ring bulldyke looking feminists, and I'm just no, I'm not gonna.
You're like in NorCal, right? Like,
Yeah, it's pretty bad here. I went to Florida and I couldn't believe women like that really existed in such number.
well, I'm telling you, it's coming. There's going to be a big shift the other way, man. And everything that we talked about, I just hope you remember what I talked about. I said that Mormonism will take over, and you'll listen, man. I know you're going to be soaking it in. I can't believe members of your church watched your old channel. That's what's crazy to me.
A few of them did. Like, like Mormons are regular people. Like, you talk to missionaries and you think that's who you're really talking to. It's like, no, that's that's a sales pitch.
No, I've seen them in the military and the Air Force. They're like Mormons are
Yeah,
very
it's just like
federal.
a
It's
valid
the
religion.
federal religion. It's a federal religion. It's like the federal American religion is Mormonism.
Well, you say that, but there's a lot of groups of Mormons that don't like the federal government.
As it is, perfect government's on the way.
Well,
Perfect
I mean,
government is coming soon.
I believe. Listen, I'm not the best example of what a Mormon should be. I've got serious problems. I'm not a bad person. I'm really not. But so far as being what is expected of a Latter-day Saint, I've got ways to go. But I think the Mormon Church represents some of the best and kindest people on the planet.
Well, so the words of wisdom certainly aren't. You don't smoke, you don't drink, right? Like
Well,
you're
I
keeping
mean,
up with it.
I try not to. I feel bad when I do.
I'm just amazed you got a temple recommend. That's just like that's what's completely blowing my worldview right now. I'm like,
Well, you
who?
think I act like I do in the sector everywhere?
I mean, if they saw your YouTube channel with you holding, like your Ghibli-fied gun holding, gun toting,
Oh yeah, no,
and if
they
they
know
saw
about
that,
they know about that. There's
do they know
way
about the Murdoch thing with the swastika behind you and stuff? And I know you were joking. It's all fun and games, but it's
they
like,
can see that's a joke. They're not retarded.
I don't know, man. I'm glad. Listen, I'm glad for you. It's just
Yeah,
I'm sorry for having to pay
every
10% of your
like
income.
no, I mean they were more concerned about the fact that I had a history with prostitutes, that I had a marijuana addiction, that occasionally I'd get drunk. They were way more concerned with things that are, actually a threat to my soul, because it's a church and not some sort of fucking gang on the internet. It's not like I'm trying to get into fucking plate gang. It's a church.
It was kind of a corporation in a way, right? Like I
There it is a
remember you described
corporation.
it at that.
It
It
is
is, yeah, with a
it is
president
actually a
and
corporation. It's Deseret Industries. The
the
church.
honeybee, the Deseret, the Jaredites had brought over the honeybee when they came back to America, way back when the Tower of Babel occurred. It's very interesting because you know about the occult significance of the honeybee, the hexagon that they work in, the perfect kingdom, orderly working bees, and Brigham Young choosing that to be the original name of the established kingdom outside the borders of the United States, mind you. This theocracy that was already established outside the borders of the United States and then came in as Utah. I think that's just bizarre, because
Yeah, I'm happier since I joined the church, but listen, I think it would be really wrong for me to be seen as a representative of what a happy and stable Mormon looks like. I'm a neurotic who happens to be very religious. And that's how I put it. I've Not everything I believe is something the Latter-day Saints Church today essentially might even agree with. Like most of it is, and I'd say that joining the Latter-day Saints Church is a good idea. It'll improve your life. But I am not a representative of the LDS Church. I don't necessarily agree that they are infallible. I believe that they are God's church on earth today. But even like, it's still a church. It's not a like.
well, the Greek word for church is ecclesia, and it actually referred to people, not a corporation or Masonic buildings. So
Well,
that's kind of why
there's
we have different definitions.
there's the temple. Okay, so the church in Mormonism, the church is the organization, the ward is the building where you go, and the temple is
The
like a
stake
sacred.
and stuff like that.
The stake is the region you're in, like the specific. But yeah, I mean, in a corporate world, the church adapted to survive. It's a living church. It's a church. The church is for the living, not the dead. The dead are in the kingdom of God. We only have living members. Um,
So wait, if you're in the Melchizedek priesthood, you went through the ceremony where you saw
I'm not
Adam
talking
and
about any of
oh, you're
that
not
here.
talking about that? Okay, all right, fine, fine. No, I got you. You took an oath, I understand. But I'm thinking I don't know, man. The stakes, it's like they're setting up a giant tent over the United
Look, I
States.
really,
They're spreading.
well, I mean, the church, whatever they're planning, is for the best. My main concern is that they may make porn illegal, but that would honestly be for the best. I mean, it would be annoying, but
It's just
ultimately,
legalism is the problem. The Pharisees thought they could manifest righteousness by adding hair splitting distinctions and precept upon precept, all these
yeah,
laws
we're not going to do that.
to.
We're just going to make everything really patriotic and Christian.
But that's a problem because Christ isn't patriotic. His kingdom is not of this world. Like the
Yeah,
kingdom of
no,
God is within you.
we can make like Israel will one day be born of a great nation, a great and holy nation, which is supposed to be the United States. Now that plan may change if the United States continues to be um, a giant whorehouse, but yeah, no,
I just find it odd that you're a part of Manasseh. That was the tribe they assigned you to, because Ephraim and Manasseh were the sons of Joseph. And collectively, I think Mormons identify themselves as Ephraim, in general, like the 10 northern tribes that were scattered, and you're reuniting them as Ezekiel had put Judah and Ephraim together on that staff that he put
most
together.
Mormons
So I
are
guess
most Mormons are Ephraimites. Some are Manasseh, but there are others.
It's very odd because I don't know if you know, but the 144,000, which is a symbolic number in the book of Revelation, all the tribes are sealed. It's symbolically 12,000 from this tribe of Dan, 12,000 from the tribe of Judah, 12,000 from the tribe of, it goes through all of them. But the tribes of Ephraim and Dan are missing from the sealing of the 144,000. I think Dan is pretty obvious. He was the tribe of, that was a bad tribe. That was like what Samson's tribe was, and also the tribe that the Hiram Abiff, the temple builder who helped create Solomon's temple, he was from the tribe of Dan. It's pretty obvious why there. But Ephraim, those are the two tribes that are missing, and I find it curious that that's the tribe that Mormons identify as.
Mormons don't identify as Ephraimites. There's many different tribes you might be assigned to.
Interesting. Yeah, I'm sure there's probably, it wouldn't be of the 10 northern scattered tribes by the Assyrians. Like, do you think they're tied to races? Like, is your ethnicity one of those tribes? Do they check your genealogy?
It can influence it. Most Manassites are Native Americans, Hispanics, and Celts. I'm Welsh, so I guess Manasseh. But it's not necessarily that so. Someone of Nordic descent could end up in Manasseh. It's determined by spiritual qualities, which are often tied to race, but no, the tribes are not racial per se.
That's fascinating because I mean, like, the LDS Church is one of the largest genealogical databases, and I think of how the Apostle Paul told Timothy that concern yourself not with endless genealogies and Jewish fables, and yet the LDS Church is extremely concerned with genealogies and the political state of Israel.
We're trying to run a theocracy. We're trying to build our own Israel. I don't see it. I think it's a better idea to just build one of our own and fight with the Jews over that shithole.
Well, that's the thing, is like, it's a theocracy in and of itself is antithetical to Christianity.
I mean,
like Leo Tolstoy, he wrote about that in his book, The Kingdom of God is Within You. Any form of Christianity that has a standing army is not Christian.
I disagree with that.
Straight up.
I think that's retarded.
No, it's fine. You have a retarded Jesus, and I don't worship him. So, I mean, yours is from an alien. You have a retarded alien Jesus, so that's why we don't worship the same Jesus.
Well, I mean, maybe you'd be able to push that idea more, persuasively if you had a standing army, but you don't.
Right, because I bless those who curse me, and I don't believe the things I see on my screen.
Yeah, I believe
because rest assured, we will see Mormon Jesus appear.
So here's the thing: you seem certain that you have very strong faith in certain events and prophecies. For me, I chose a religion that would help me communicate with God. I don't need the religion to be 100% correct all of the time, so long as I keep my heart and mind toward God. When He needs me to know something, I'll know it. It will probably manifest through the imagery and symbolism of my religion. I think God is above all religion.
Shaggy. Yeah, the term religion, the Latin root is religare, which means to rebind. Like, I'm not religious, I'm Christian. Like, I don't subscribe to these forms and ceremonies and images and practices. I know the LDS.
I think that sounds incredible. I get what you mean, but saying it like that sounds so incredibly fedora-tippingly pompous. Like, you're not religious.
Calling myself Christian and saying that's fedora tipping.
Christianity is a religion. Okay, well, you can't know God's
will. Of course, yes. MAGA Christianity, Mormonism, Christianity, all those are all religions. But the word Christian means anointed one, and a Christian, Christ means anointed one, Christus, and a Christian is a follower of a person.
So
Jesus of Nazareth. Yes, I follow him, not a corporation, not a government body, not a country that identifies as Christian.
But so by this standard, in order for your Christianity to be separate from religion, it would have to be completely free of any religious elements, and I just don't buy that.
I mean, the thing is, Christianity is about a person, not a set of rules or denomination or country. And he transforms from within. But these sets of, the words of wisdom, the Melchizedek priesthood, all of these, if you will, Pharisaical laws transform the person outside in, but it doesn't actually change their spirit. So you can change someone's behavior, but they can still desire to do something.
Yeah, I mean,
so that means their
you
spirit
could
hasn't
certainly
changed.
like use the church to just like put up a fake image of who you pretend to be, but the church doesn't advocate that you do that. You're supposed to use the church to find Christ and make changes within yourself based on his teachings. Like that's what the Latter-day Saints church is like. It's not Cobra. It's a legitimate church that has to help people through legitimate spiritual crises. When someone dies and the grieving family comes to you for spiritual advice and help, you'd better have more than a company line to give them. Like, like there's
Yeah, you
a
promise to see them. And do you think you're going to the celestial or terrestrial kingdom?
I would hope to get to the celestial kingdom. I mean, that's the goal, right?
Yeah, but it's like a hierarchy, right? Like, I forgot, there's the celestial, terrestrial, and I forgot there's outer darkness, but I felt like there was one even below the terrestrial before outer darkness, that people are sorted out in this kind of like spiritual caste system after death.
Celestial,
And then they can,
terrestrial, and telestial, I believe. And I don't really worry about it. You'll be where you belong. It's about being
well, I mean,
where
that's
you
what I
belong.
say.
It's not about
Yeah,
hierarchy. It's about everything being where it's supposed to be. Like the people who are in hell would rather be there than in God's presence. That's why they're in hell.
well, I mean, it's just the spiritualism or the idea that like you can tell someone who has a departed family member they're in one of those areas, and if we retroactively baptism, they can accept the
So
gospel
I don't
beyond.
think it's an issue of when, because I think God is beyond the perception of time. I think time is literally the fourth dimension, and God is like at least seventh dimension. I'd say seven because it's a holy number, so seven. I would presuming, but possibly higher than that, I guess. But we know there's a fourth dimension, and scientists largely believe a fifth dimension has been proven through some science test I can't even begin to describe to you, nor am I going to dig up like where it was conducted, but I read it somewhere that they found, oh, we've proven the fifth dimension. Okay, whatever. But I think that it's not an issue of when. The main reason that according to the Catholics at least, that Satan can't be forgiven is because he committed his sin before time was really flowing in the way that it does now, meaning that it is an eternal sin. The reason we live in a linear fashion is so that we can be forgiven, so that one thing can be in the past, because the past does not exist in the presence of God. Everything
So then
is.
why did Jesus need to die?
Um, Now, that's an interesting topic. Jesus actually completed the salvation of mankind in the Garden of Gethsemane, and then he was murdered by a bunch of Jews. He
But I'm
allowed
saying,
that
like,
to
if we,
happen. He allowed that to happen so that he could basically prove that he was God by fucking up their city and then coming back from the dead.
but the idea that people live eternally by default, it doesn't really provide any reasons why.
Say
Like,
what?
why did the Son of God have to assume the form of man and die
He
if we're
didn't.
all already eternal
He
by
came.
default?
The Son of Man came to Earth to experience mankind in its truest nature, in the form of the bitter cup. The wine within contained humanity's nature, but that nature was pure pain. He bled from every pore because it was in fact so painful to a spiritual being to experience such corruption. He
And the
came.
atonement was at the Garden of Gethsemane. Yeah,
Yeah, the
that's the
atonement
Mormon view.
happened in the Garden of Gethsemane. After having overcome the pain of mankind and now having an intimate knowledge of the sin and pain of every mortal being who would ever live, he was then capable of going through the process of being crucified like it was nothing, knowing he could just like come back from the dead. He'd already been through all the pain in human existence, so the crucifixion was like nothing to him. So he just let them like destroy the
So
body, and then
when
he
he
came
said,
back.
Ilah, Ilah, lama sabachthani, or my God, why hast thou forsaken me? It was just play acting.
I don't think that was because of the physical pain. I think he was probably still feeling the after effects of the bitter cup. I mean, it was all the pain in humanity. I would imagine that would kind of fuck you
Yeah,
up.
I agree. The physical pain was awful, but really, it was
It
a
wasn't. It
separation
was. Yeah, I
from
don't
his
think it was the
father.
physical pain.
It was
Um,
his father. Yeah, that
yeah,
separated from him.
he probably was being tormented by Satan as well. But as soon as as soon as the body, he probably was hoping they weren't going to kill him, that at some point they would show compassion, take him down, and be redeemed for what they had done. Being confined to mortality, he was also confined to a linear sense. And even though in a general sense he
I
knew what
guess
was to happen, in a sense he also had to go through the pain as if he didn't. And that's a difficult concept to explain. You'd have to
so. You think
consider it.
that Satan, like how he was taunting Christ on the cross? You think Satan is like bribing preachers, giving them money, like
I think
teach them
Satan
about
is.
eternal hellfire
I think
and stuff.
Satan. We are taught that Satan is about on the earth. We are taught that Satan is never far from you, not even in the pews in church. That Satan is there when you get home from work, even if you're all alone, and he's waiting for you as you begin your day just outside your door. Satan will always be there, and his only motivation is to fuck you up, or to use you to fuck other people up, is to corrupt you entirely. I think that Satan, whatever his nature, it's something we can't fully understand ourselves, nor should we want to. To contemplate Satan is to
I just
contemplate ultimate damnation.
So do you think he's in every single, all of Christendom is an abomination? Like all Christian
Evil,
denominations are
evil
basically run
lies,
by Satan?
evil lies in every man, and that which is evil is of Satan. He is always with us until we are separated him from the protecting arms of our Father.
But is there like any special work that Satan's doing through the Christian churches?
Satan, any special work would be the hubris of man. Satan, there's a banality to evil.
Well, you said the
Satan,
hubris of man. That's what I find bizarre. It's like, isn't establishing the kingdom of God here on earth in a physical, like temporal kingdom or country, isn't that the hubris of man?
um, no, if we're talking about the three seals of the apocalypse, Nast of flesh is the idea that you can, you know, uh, I think it has something to do with killing. I think it's something to do with violence. Nast of the eyes is the internet. And the pride of life is probably cloning.
Okay. Okay. I just want you to know that I think PPP, you haven't talked to him at all, right? Ashton Parks, you haven't.
Only in the context of being a viewer of the Kino Casino. I asked him, for example, if the JF segment was going to be on one night, and he said, "No, Shaggy, no, it's not."
I see. I guess I haven't talked to him since.
No, it's like with Ralph. I would talk to him, but only in the context of as a fan. In the sense that I'd want to get to know Surfer. Ashton is an entertainer to me, and if I get to know him as a person, then he's no longer an entertainer. He's someone I interact with.
I think he's the spitting image of what you perhaps saw in your ritual. Like Satan going to a preacher, because he was a preacher. I don't know if you know that. Ashton was a preacher.
No, I do know
He
that.
actually, we did Bible study. We did Bible studies together. Him and
I
I
know that
in
Ashton
BC.
was a preacher. He was a talented one. I think he's a lot of.
Yeah, and his skills have been completely redirected for mammon, and I think it's repulsive. And I really just want to talk to the guy, but I don't think I'll ever get a genuine conversation
I
with him.
mean, it's not that Ashton has the skills of a great preacher, but he has the mentality of a carnival barker. And God has a path for everyone, including the carnival barker. I think he is doing what God intended him to do. I think this is, this is who he was meant to be in life, is more into media. And I think
He told me long ago that his arc would be that he would get better. That the starfish, the streamed out mini starfish, it was the lowest point, and that he would be working his way upward.
he
Do you
is
think that trend
he's
is
doing
upward with the
very
Kino Casino?
he's doing very well. He's lightweight as far as internet famous can be. He's internet famous. He's succeeded. He won the game of the internet. He's getting money for it. I know because I give him some of that
Right, but
money.
I don't doubt, like, rather I don't use mammon as a metric for
There's
someone's
there's
spiritual
nothing
advancement.
sacred about wealth, but there's nothing evil about it either. I'm sure that
I
Ashton,
think for your behavior to be dictated by it and your positions, that
but
is
we're not in a
worshiping.
position to judge Ashton's morality in real life. You're talking about what he
Yeah,
does for a living.
I don't dictate where he's what kingdom he's going to. The celestial, telestial. I don't. Jesus said the Father judges no man, but has committed all judgment unto the Son. He's the one who'll make the decision. But I will say, a form of mammon worship is changing your principles and what you believe simply to continue getting super chats.
Um,
You cannot serve two masters, Shaggy.
well,
You
yeah,
can't.
but here's the thing. Supposedly, this ideology that you can't. All right, here's my take. This ideology that you cannot use YouTube to make money, or there's something unethical about it, only made sense
I mean,
in.
that's not what I was saying. I was quoting Jesus.
Well, I'm
Like,
just
I'm
saying
not talking
a
about
lot
like
of people that.
making money, period.
Well, I don't see there's what is Ashton doing wrong if not making money? He's making money. That's what he's doing is running a business. And I
Well, the
mean,
content's awful. It's like some of the, I don't watch Kino
if
Casino, so you
people
can correct me on this.
if people pay
But
for it, and no, it's not always awful. It's often pretty good.
Donos! Andy. Andy, that was based. I don't know. I see them
I
jiggling a lot. He's blown up into like this bulbous,
I mean
amorphous, gelatinous creature as he wildly gesticulates
yeah,
and
he's
talks
putting
about
on a
these.
performance for the audience. He makes a character of himself. He surely does. I'm sure he doesn't act that way in real life. I'm sure he's not in the church yelling, "Whoa, buddy!"
Yeah,
from
I
the
don't think he's in
pew.
the church at all. Yeah, I
Like
agree.
I
I don't think he's in the church in any capacity.
I don't know if we have any, but what basis do we have to say that? We don't know shit about his real life. I don't know shit about his life. He's not my friend of mine. I'm a fan of
I
his.
know the Ashton I know is different than the Ashton I see in the Kino Casino.
Well, is the Ashton go to church? Because I just know
The
the
one I
character.
knew did was it detested turning into what he is now.
Okay,
Like
well,
what he
I
turned
mean, what he
into
is
is
now,
everything
like
he spoke against.
that's an act for a show to make money. I'm sure he's largely still the same person. I'm sure he largely has the same beliefs. And I'm sure he still looks down on anyone who looks at the Kino Casino and takes it as any performance of sincerity on his part. It's a show. It's meant to be entertaining, and he's playing a character to a degree.
Well, it's not entertaining and it's awful. And he was way funnier when he was not being puppet stringed by Israeli, Zionist
Okay,
funders.
that being said, what is your opinion on Perspic, who is another gay Jew who involves himself in all this shit for
So
nefarious reasons?
you have to, Shaggy, keep in mind, I know about the sector through you, and I've only heard the worst about this Persian snake called Perspic, but I've never seen one of his streams. I
All
don't
right.
even know what he's about yet. I just know that
I,
he's Persian and maybe
so
gay.
a
Like
lot of
that's all I know.
this what I know about him is he used to be very much against Ashton taking donations or grifting, or he would make the same argument you make, only he's now taking donations and trying to grift and doing all this other gay shit. I just wanted to know if you're connected with him because a lot of people are. So apparently you're not, and that's fine. That's good.
I
It would be hugely
I
hypocritical if you were.
I think anyone who makes their content about the sector, you have a real life, Shaggy. It sounds like this is a hobby to you, and that's fine.
Yeah.
But someone who makes money off of like commentary on the sector, that's pretty. You might need to reevaluate your trajectory on like your spiritual course in life. That's that's just my 2 cents. I haven't kept up with it at all. I'm even amazed that Kino Casino still has an audience.
They do a good show. I mean, this is what I'd tell anyone on here. The show is worth watching. It's not dog shit. It's not, it's not like amazing 5-star entertainment every moment, but it passes the bar for paid online entertainment. Like, is it as good as some of the shit we got back in 2016? No, but that was a different time. It's better than most of the shit you get today. I don't
Well,
know.
do you think kind of like wrestling? Ashton was a huge wrestling fan. Do you think
Everyone
this
in this
DSP
sector
arc?
is. Oh, DSP, that shit. Oh God.
No, do you think it could be like wrestling? You know how like in wrestling they have.
So
I didn't watch it
my
growing up,
take
but
on
I hear
that
they
is
have.
Ashton's done this before with Matt Jarbo, where he finds someone on the internet he used to watch, who he used to think was cool, who's had a downfall, and he tries to rehabilitate them, not realizing there's a reason they had that downfall. And ultimately, these pseudo cows, they don't really, you know, Jarbo and Matt and DSP are a lot alike. They're both painfully unfunny e-beggars with massive blind spots who will like go at others without realizing, their own faults. Um, but they're not really funny or entertaining in their own right. It can be fun to see them get felted, but if left to their own devices, it's largely begging and boring. Um,
I think the real problem is Canada. Like these Canadians, the Canadian question needs to be addressed. I wish
I,
the day of the rake would occur. They would all go back. Your Jordan Peterson, your PPPs, your Andy Worski, because they are located in America. Their
well,
studios in America.
well, we're going to take over Canada now. We're going to annex Canada, so fuck it.
Awful, awful, worst decision ever. They're not the same, Shaggy. You know that Canadians are not American.
Well, maybe they'll
They're
be
not.
second-class citizens. Maybe they'll be second-class citizens.
I think instead of if we could redirect our big explodey nukes maybe north of us, we might like in South America. That's that come on, that they're pretty much just an extension of California or Deseret, even Deseret extended to Mexico at some part. But Canada, this is just a remnants of the British Commonwealth. Like get them out of here. We just, I mean, PPP. The problem is if we did that, PPP and Andy Worski would be fine because they're located in America. But we have to do something about the Canada question.
I wish they'd stop shipping fentanyl here. Other than that, I don't really give a shit.
You certainly haven't partaken. You would never.
No, I'm a counselor. I see what it does to people. I've seen people die of it.
I've never seen, like, is it you smoke
It's the
fen
worst
or like
fucking.
snort it?
They smoke it or inject it or snort it. It is the worst fucking thing you've ever fucking seen, though, what this shit does to people.
I just like it's like heroin times 10 or something.
Yeah,
I just remember I grew up in the DARE program, Shaggy. So I'm like, I say no.
No,
to drugs.
Fuck Dare. Like Dare never would have needed to exist if this had existed. All you'd have to do is walk the kids down the street and just show them at any clinic on Mission or 6th Street, right, or Turk Street.
Just bring in a fen addict to class and be like, children, look at this. And
no, I mean the place the last, like, they ship me around a lot. I work at least 3 different locations right now. 2 of them are outside the city, but they this one location which we don't use anymore. I would straight up get pissed if people would bring their kids there, because some of these dumbasses would actually bring their kids to this location, and it's like the people there. It's worse than you can imagine. Like heroin and meth and crack, none of them compare to fentanyl. Fentanyl is so much, and there's worse
it's
shit.
Like the final boss of drugs.
Have you heard of ISO?
I haven't. Is that Galaxy gas?
Isothanatazine is a drug that's making the rounds. It's even worse than fentanyl. And while you haven't heard of it yet, all the fentanyl addicts have, and they much prefer it. It's 10 times as strong as fentanyl.
Just keep leveling up. I've heard of galaxy gas. I know that's what
there,
Kanye
there,
West was on. Yeah,
there's something called carfentanil, which is 100 times as strong as fentanyl, and there's a few people who actually use that.
that's no good. It's no
Yeah.
good. I don't like it, Shaggy. But
Yeah, no,
the LDS Church, doesn't
shit
support
is
that.
really
So
bad.
maybe
Shit is really
they'll
bad
clean
in
it
the
up.
area.
Maybe they'll clean them up. Maybe they'll ship them out to El Salvador or something. Just get them out of here. Get these drug addicts off the streets. Clean it up. Make America great again. It's gonna be awesome, man.
I think there needs to be some solution to it. But
You did vote for Trump, right? Like you
yeah, I
did.
did, of
You
course.
did actually.
Yeah.
Trump Gaza, make Israel great again, make America great again, because they're both one and the same. Like, come on. Our greatest ally.
They are a vassal nation that has not been acting in accordance with our wishes because of Biden's weak administration. I'll be right back. 1 second.
No problem. Yeah, I'm reading the chat right now. Esoteric Strongman says, you loser figs who believe in Jewish fairy tales literally killed the rise of a new white age of Kino and IRL. That is a word salad, my friend. But it sounds like you have racial autism. So if there is a church I recommend for you, it would be the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. They will save the white race. Israel is not a vassal nation, Shaggy, you fool. Vassal nation. Get a load of this, Joker. Yeah, I mean, I kind of agreed completely with Chad King. Shaggy's a Zionist and on. It's baked into Mormonism. That's really the only message I hope to get across. Not just with tonight's stream or for all 15 of you who are watching. Mormonism is the original Christian Zionism. You can read Doctrine and Covenants 77. You can read 2nd Nephi 29. In fact, while Shaggy is out, I might actually.
I'm back.
Oh, you're back. I was going to read a line from the Book of Mormon.
Okay, go ahead.
One of my favorite. Oh, sure. This is from 2nd Nephi, chapter 29. It says, so it was written by the prophet. Of course, the 2nd Nephi, the second plate. It says, and because my word, this is God speaking, right? Elohim, if you will. And because my word shall hiss forth, many of the Gentiles shall say, a Bible. We have got a Bible, and there cannot be any more Bible. But thus saith the Lord God, O fools, they shall have a Bible, and it shall proceed forth from the Jews, mine ancient covenant people. And what thank they, the Jews, for the Bible which they receive from them? O ye Gentiles, have you remembered the Jews, mine ancient covenant people? Nay, but ye have cursed them, and have hated them, and have not sought to recover them. Behold, I will return all these things upon your own heads, for I, the Lord, have not forgotten my people. So, I mean, the God of the Latter-day Saints Church is Zionist. It is a Zionist God that fetishizes the tribe of Judah.
Okay.
But I really like the part where it's the God said, my word shall hiss forth. Hiss forth. Remember, the serpent promised to Eve, right? You shall become as gods. And isn't that the God of the doctrine of progressive, divine atonement? Isn't Elohim, wasn't he once a man and then through Latter-day Saints teachings essentially became?
I think now the most coherent version of that I've heard is a doctrine the current church disavows called the Adam God doctrine, which states that just as Jehovah came to earth as Christ, Yahweh or Elohim came to earth as Adam.
I mean, Brigham Young did teach the doctrine of progressive godhood.
I don't think I'll ever be Christ's equal.
I mean, you'll be his father's equal if you follow the teachings correctly.
No, no living Mormon I've ever met has taught me that.
Well, I mean, come on, Shaggy. Is not a central, like I would say, a more sacred principle of Mormonism that we can become God.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the teaching that from a God that hisses, right? From the verse I just read, 2 Nephi 29, right? Because my word shall hiss forth, and the serpent said to
I think
Eve,
you're
right?
gonna need a
You
lot
shall
more
become
than
as
that.
gods.
I think you're gonna need a lot more than that to dismantle Mormonism. I don't know. Mormonism is an accepted form of Christianity in the world today. I
Yeah, I
see
mean,
that.
so is Catholicism. Like, I don't
Yeah,
care what the world accepts. I reject the world.
yeah, but you still have to live in it, right? And if you want to be if you want like
Yeah.
a spiritual relationship with the Lord, right? You're going to need a form that is proven to work in establishing that sort of relationship. Mormonism is pretty good at getting people in a spiritual state where they can walk with God. There's a lot of very holy people who are Mormons. Now, holiness
I
is
think
something that,
Mormonism is a great behavior modification program, but it's not Christianity.
well, no, there's something. So, when we talk about holiness, what I mean is how close they are to the divine spark. There's many holy people of many different religions. These people
Really?
are
So the
close
Son
to
of
God.
God, he told Jesus, he told the young prince who approached him, Good master, what must I do to inherit eternal life? And Jesus said to him, Why do you call me good? There is none good but God. And of course, Christ was asserting his divinity because he was absolutely good. There was not a single thing that could be brought before him in that, kangaroo trial before Caiaphas. They had to bring forth false witnesses. Even Pilate said, I find no fault in him. So Christ was divine, right? But he says that there is none good but God. So when you say that, oh, why, yes, there's Confucius, Marcus Aurelius, there's all these moral teachers in the past, they taught moral precepts, but they themselves could not live up to them, nor could they impart the ability to manifest it. Christ is the
I
only
get what you're
teacher.
saying
Christ is
there,
the only teacher who did it.
but see, right, you can find incredibly inspiring things in the work of someone who is nihilistic, even like Cormac McCarthy. That's why Blood Meridian is one of my favorite books. You don't have to necessarily disagree that war can be an aspect of God, but the point I'm making here is that God is something that is, in my mind, above all religions. There's the words of dead men, which we have as scriptures, and these, by studying these, by learning to live in accordance with the teachings of the doctrine, we learn to become holy. Now, I think that the white version of that is infinitely better than what the Chinese have with Confucius and all. But there's certainly many Buddhist teachers who I would probably say are enlightened. But again, I think Christianity works better. I think
I don't think
Jesus.
they're enlightened. They think that you can, invoke the divine spark within, and that's fundamentally
I
rejecting the
can't
need for a
evoke
savior.
anything in them. How holy you are is a completely personal thing. It's a spiritual path that you alone walk. There's people who live their whole lives and never even hear about Christianity in any sense that would have meaning to them.
Yeah, and that's the big selling point for Mormonism. Actually, that's what the missionaries had told me. They said those who had never heard about Christianity, what will happen to them? Baiting me, like a typical atheist usually does. Like, what about the Hindu man who never hears the gospel? The answer is very simple. So I recited it earlier. The Father judges no man, but has committed all judgment unto the Son. Christ is the one who will evaluate what spirit they
I
have.
think our
But Mormonism teaches they go to a different level. What is it? The celestial kingdom?
celestial kingdom is where Mormons are aiming for the highest heaven. But I think our core disagreement here is you believe that through the study of religion you can know the truth. I don't think
No, I
that.
do not. Actually, I
See,
was explicitly saying the opposite. I said, as a Christ,
but you believe you
the
can figure
man.
out what the truth is, right? You can figure out what
No,
the
I
truth
don't.
is.
No. For any of you,
Okay.
the same verse that Joseph Smith read before he prayed and discovered the golden plates at Mount Cumorah was in James chapter 1, where it says, If any of you lack wisdom, let him ask of God, who giveth liberally and upbraideth not, but let him ask. in faith, nothing wavering. For one who wavers is as a sea that throws to and fro. But that's from James chapter 1. Anything I understand about prophecy or the written word is from Christ. And there will be people in heaven who ask Jesus why his hands are pierced.
Well, again, I admire your knowledge of doctrine, but my whole thing is I believe Christ responds to those who worship him. Mormonism seems just as good a method as any in which to establish the rules and boundaries of that worship. Everyone has their own cultural practices, after all.
Shaggy, I just see Mormonism as the American Catholicism.
Kinda.
It is. It's the American Catholicism. It will take over.
Kinda.
And they will set up. Yeah, I mean, you've been to their service, right? With a little bread and water cup.
Mormonism. I like being a Mormon.
I mean, I don't. I think they're superficially nice, but it's very odd that Utah has one of the highest divorce rates and consumption of antidepressant drugs in the country, as well as child abuse rates. So, like, Jesus said, you will know them by their fruits. Yet the divorce rate of Utah is above the national average. Right? They're one of the largest purchasers of antidepressants.
I'm living in the Bay Area of California. Are you trying to tell me Utah is a bad place? Give me a break.
It's the beating heart of Mormonism. The Salt Lake City Temple is that not the American?
It sounds like paradise to me. I live in fucking the San Francisco Bay Area.
Yeah, well, that's hell.
Yeah, give me a fucking break.
I don't know if you've been to San Francisco, man. It smells like piss. It's awful.
I have to go there regularly when we get called into the main office.
Oh no, I'm sincerely apologize, but hey, I mean, you got to be pretty loaded, like wealthy. You got to be sitting on some fat stacks, Shaggy, because to own home property in the Bay Area.
I live on a boat.
You're old money. You live in a boat. I've seen some of your streams back in the wave. You don't do video streams anymore.
Well, I mean, I would. It would be better content, but like, I don't need these retards like Brian and Perspic clipping my every face mid sentence, so it looks like I'm making a stupid facial expression and posting it everywhere.
Is Brian like mentally well? Like,
no,
is he sound?
No.
Because every time he just makes up stuff. He made up stuff that him and I like were friends or something, and I didn't know anything about it. So I was like focusing on real life, and then I got DMs from someone telling me, it's like, Brian's like talking about you and saying that you guys like really, know each other.
That's really deranged. Only someone really deranged would pretend that they knew someone. I remember Brian,
and he did a stream like playing that game and making fanfics about you or something. I don't know the details.
Yeah, it's pretty gay. He has a White Wolf World of Darkness role-playing game night where all the people online he doesn't like are the bad guys. And he made me and Axel and Grossly a bunch of werewolves called the Council of Evil who rape each other and molest children.
In the game or in his brain?
Game. No, in his game. And he described the scenario where we're all gay, like furries having sex with each other and molesting children and eating them.
The funny thing about Brian is that when you hear him talk and if you knew nothing about Brian and you just heard him talk for a little bit, you're like, this is just a guy. But then it's like the more you listen and the more you get to know, like then you realize something's off.
Yeah.
Something's just slightly off about Brian. And I'll say it's pretty much how my experience was researching Mormonism was as well. Like, these people are so nice. They're all so kind. And then the more I was like, there's something just off about the Latter-day Saints church. It's just off. Something wrong about it. And as much as you could talk about Brian's predilections, I could talk about the LDS church, but I don't want to bore you or anyone here. And we're at an ideological impasse. Like you're about the method. You think that the LDS Church is a good method, and I'm about a person.
Well, I think the LDS Church would do better to adapt to the times in certain regards regarding technology. But they're trying, they're doing as much as any church could to adapt to computers and such.
You know, the LDS family I visited, they hosted me for dinner one time, and they were a charming, wonderful family. Their children didn't have smartphones, but they had Apple computers. And I thought that is, very obedient and such a lovely family. They were all so kind and happy. But, maybe it's for the better. I think the way the internet's going, it's just so it might be better
The internet
if
has
children don't
become
use it.
like, no, your children, I might be real. Children should not be on the mainstream internet. They should have something that's specifically for them. They should, like, it shouldn't be illegal for kids to use the internet, but like once you're
Well, it's
18, like you should have access to a completely different set of shit. Because my main thing is like you've got these predator hunters, and some of them do a good job, right? Because inevitably you're going to get predators with the internet being what it is. But you've
yeah,
also got
my
people
my
like,
old channel, I had a predator video on a tranny named Sarah Nyberg, who had was posting in IRC chat pictures of their younger cousin, and so it was very disturbing. But my channel got banned, so it's gone. It's lost forever. But yeah, predator hunters, they're out there, but I agree with you. The internet just isn't a place for children these days, especially because I think technical literacy is like, boomers and zoomers almost have the same level of technical literacy since they only use like touch screens. So they might be really good at be using touch screens, but they're terrible at like understanding file directory structures.
yeah, I Master Jaeger, yeah, I think Grossly and Leo were presented as black spiral dancers. They made me a were rat. Um, again, I prefer Call of Cthulhu for that sort of shit. Um,
Black Spiral Dance, is that in the game? Like
that's in
I
their
don't know
game.
anything
They're
about that.
playing World of Darkness. There's various factions. The lore is pretty deep. Honestly, I did used to invest myself in it somewhat. I was more of a Shadowrun player, but I do know who the Black Spiral Dancers are. Um, I know that were-rats are immune to disease. I know enough to know what they're talking about. I know that I don't know whether they're playing New World of Darkness or Old World of Darkness, so I don't know that.
Shaggy, you're mentioning that like, the internet, these Perspic, Brian, they're all trash talking to you. Maybe you shouldn't, I don't know, roll around in the mud, with people like Jess and others. Like it
I'm
gets
nice
on
to
you,
the people who were
you know.
nice to me, and I honestly, here's the thing. Jess is like, if someone's a tranny, they're obviously nuts. Um, right? Like, but
I
that
would
doesn't
I
mean
would agree.
that doesn't necessarily mean they're bad people. I work with the mentally ill every day. Some of them are nice, and some of them are total assholes. Like, I don't fucking think Jess honestly has anything to do with it because let's be real, Perspic is gay. Brian is gay. One of the two trannies I know in the Discord, Brian tried to have sex with them. And that's recorded. There's recordings of it.
Oh no, 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 no. There was a recording. Yeah, wasn't it Maddie Cat? There
Yeah,
was a
like,
recording
like
of
Mr.
Maddie.
Medicare laughed in it and everything. That was when Matt Dog, managed to get Brian to offer him a hand job with his mouth or whatever the fuck.
That
Like,
that was the terminology, yes, indeed.
yeah. So like, I don't think that has anything to do with it. I know a lot of people are pissed off at Jess for some shit Jess did, but I don't even think that's because they're a troon. I think that's based on this retarded drama they've been involved in with some faggot named Blaine.
I don't know anything about them except that they have a beard. Like their image was posted one time, it was sent to me, and they had some confession video where they confessed to talking to like a young girl or something, and it fit very well into my
Oh,
worldview.
Jesus Christ.
I,
No, no. What happened was that a young fucking 14-year-old something individual catfished Jess, right? Jess got catfished.
okay, I didn't know this. I'm hearing
Yeah,
new stuff. Yeah,
Jess got,
please tell me.
it's sort of like, is Chris Chan a pedophile because of Blue Spike? No, no. Like, we could make all sorts of gay ass retarded arguments and go in a circle about that, but no. Jess got tricked by someone who happens to be very young. Now, I don't know what the fuck was said between those two, nor do I fucking want to, but I do know that every time Jess spoke to this person, except when they like told them to go away, they thought that person was an adult. So Jess isn't any kind of fucking. Everyone calls everyone a pedophile on here, and I just find that so fucking
Yeah,
distasteful.
it's
It's so
pretty
much
dumb.
worse.
It devalues the
It's
term. Yeah.
yeah, and it's so much like people get on Axel and me for making jokes about that shit, but at least I don't go around fucking like trying to. If I call someone a pedophile and I don't really think that, I clarify it or in some way make it obvious that I'm not really calling them a pedophile. You know, like I mean, I'll say that Brian Dunn rapes his own daughter up the ass, but if you really press me, do I really believe that? No, no.
But do you think that's funny? Because
It's
I mean,
supposed to
Brian
piss him
is pretty
off.
out there,
It's
but
supposed to piss him off. I don't know if it's funny or not. I didn't
he
know that
takes the
was.
bait. He does take the bait, I
Yeah, I
will say,
don't know if
and it
that was
is.
the fucking point. Whether it was funny, it's about pissing him off. But I don't wish harm on that child, and he knows that.
All I know about these troons, like these Matty Cats and your Jesses, these just Discord trannies terminally online,
There's
it's their
two of them.
religion.
There's two of them.
Yeah.
Yeah, they both. Well, no, Maddie is not religious, but Jess
No, I
claims
think
to
their
be.
transgenderism is a religion, like them believing that they are spiritually a
Oh
woman in a
no,
man's body. That's
Jess
their
takes it a
religion.
step farther. Jess believes that she is the living incarnation of Baal, and that Catholicism is actually about worshiping Baal, and that changes depending on how their
I just know
delusions.
that Jess sometimes does like the light Yamagami laugh from Death Note, and it's very, very like eyebrow raising. I just look at that and go, "Whoa, that what spirit?"
Jess is not a bad person. They're not evil, and I'm gonna get a lot of shit later on for saying that because
I mean, can you buy them a razor though? Like just a razor, like they could shave their face at least, you know? Like,
Jess has
are they?
more fucking money than I do. Like fuck. Um,
Oh, they're oh. I mean, I didn't know that. They're sitting on fat stacks. They got the money.
yeah, supposedly, Jess is pretty well off.
Because I do know about their peculiar religion. I've had a conversation one time with this Maddie Cat and Jess. I was in a group VC where both of them were talking,
Yeah, they
and it was
fight
the
all
most
the time.
bizarre.
Look, I had to kick both of them actually out of my Discord.
It was just
Uh,
the most surreal experience seeing
yeah,
these two
they
men
would
argue,
not
these two
stop.
dudes.
They don't stop fighting ever, and it's fucking annoying.
Well, it's just hilarious because it's very masculine. Because like when women have cat fights and stuff, it's a lot
Well,
more
yeah, dude,
subtle and
they're trannies. They do their best, but they
yeah,
can't
right.
really.
What's like what I find so sad about the transgender religion is that they think that by changing their exterior that they can become a woman because of they believe that their
Dude,
spirit is feminine,
I
but
agree.
they're fundamentally men.
Yeah, I'd agree. Like, did you think that I'm some sort of a gay rights activist now? I'm not. I tell them all the
No,
time. I hail
Shaggy.
them as a.
I think you were fired because of your positions on the GQ.
Yeah,
Yeah, the
I don't really appreciate the way that trans ideology has been pushed upon my culture. I find that to be abhorrent, and I'm against that. But I think that all trans people, all
well,
trans men would be better, happier living as men. I think Maddie and Jess would be happier living as men. And because I'm their friend, I want them to be happy. So I tell them that. I tell them you'd be happier as a man.
Well, I was called mentally unwell by Maddie for saying that the literal week of creation, as described in Genesis chapter 1, is real as described. The heavens and the earth were made in 6 literal days, and that God and His Son rested on the seventh. She said that was mental illness, and I put in triple quotation marks.
Hold on, we're getting another. Okay, all right, I'll add you.
Triple quotation marks said I was mentally ill for saying that.
I'll add you. I'll add you. Hold on.
Who's you? Oh, I'm excited.
Here. Hold on. Fuck. And hold on. Where the hell? Why am I not finding your fucking
Shaggy, can you tell us who you're or you?
TBC?
Let me add you. Your
TBC.
Oh, okay.
There we go. Well, I mean, I'm calling him.
Yeah, but full disclosure for everyone, I have no idea what's going on. Like, I don't know the backstories and lore of any of these characters. I've only heard in passing. And I am telling you the truth, Shaggy. I was subscribed to this Saint Shaggy channel on my old account. I did actually watch your streams.
Hello.
Hey, dude, what's up?
Is this the Jester?
Yo.
No.
Yes. This is the Jester. TBC. We're streaming, right? Leo, my brother. We've done 2 election streams together.
My brother.
Ayo, my brother. What, man?
We got the Jack Chicken. Yeah, listen.
We got the Jackie Chan. No. How are you doing, man? No, how's everything? I can't see the chat right now because I'm technologically indisposed. But I know ZXV is there probably. I know every single one of the A logs is there. I hope everybody's doing great. Shaggy, how are you doing? How are you doing, Shaggy?
Pretty good. No complaints. It's Friday night. I'm just sitting here contemplating divinity with Leo.
Yeah, I was thinking about the stream we did with Kamabla when we were like pissed that she didn't win. Because really, Hillary should have won. My queen, Hillary. No one. Yeah, everyone's all about Kamabla and Blomf and stuff and Donna. Like for me, it's Hillary. She never got a chance. She's always been robbed.
She was the golden girl. She was the golden girl. Gibbed out of her. Gibbed out of the instance of.
We wouldn't be in this Israeli quagmire that we're in right now. Had my queen been put in the Oval Office, but alas.
Definitely.
Shaggy over here voted
we all would have
Trump,
died in the Ukraine. Wait, Shaggy voted for Trump?
Yeah.
Wait, Leo, did you vote? Leo, did you vote?
I didn't vote. No.
This is
I didn't vote either.
Really annoying bit.
No, I'm just admitting I did not vote. I'm not trying to do a bit. I'm not trying to do a bit.
I voted.
No, we're actually being
I voted for Donald Trump. Yes, I voted MAGA. Yes.
Yeah, I know. It fits into my worldview.
But Leo, I do think Shaggy made the correct choice. And Shaggy, I'm not saying this as a bit. I do think he did make the correct choice. But I would like to hear why. Well, I don't know. Have you guys been talking about that? What have you guys been talking about? I'm sorry, I'm not trying to interject into the stream.
Boring theology stuff that only Shaggy and I would be interested in. We're exploring the edge of the cosmos and how to become God. these were some of the lighthearted topics we were going over.
Well,
But
do you believe
yeah,
in life after death, right? You believe that there is a form that God uh, that you
no, I
will
believe in the
exist in your God.
resurrection. I believe when someone's dead, they're just dead. The living know they shall die, but the dead know not anything. Basically, someone is dead until they're resurrected.
Ah,
So they're dead, and their next perceptible thought is the resurrection,
hey,
which
I got
everyone will experience.
I got a thought on that, right? Haven't often. I've read the Bible, the Book of Mormon, the Quran, a bunch of Buddhist and Hindu shit as well. And what I can tell you is that heaven is always described as a garden and shit, right? Now I get to thinking, you know, I'm the modern concept of alive is thinking, is being capable of sentient thought. Now, when I was going through high school, I heard all this atheistic shit about life is nothing more than a bunch of signals going off in the brain. But then I see it's like, well,
For
hold on,
them.
how the fuck is a tree alive if it doesn't have a fucking brain? And if I go to sleep and I don't remember my dreams, does that make me? That mean I was dead? So it's like, I don't think that there is thought after death. I do think there is, in a sense, life after death when you are at one with God. I think becoming God or becoming gods is mostly an allegory for that process when there is nothing that separates you from the Creator.
That's beautiful.
Is there a problem with inherently with kind of like going down the rabbit hole of that question inherently? I'm asking that to both of you guys. I
Oh, not at
I
all.
almost
Actually, because Rist, your view on the state of the dead influences your morality. I finished just reading the Oxford translation of the Bhagavad Gita last week, and when Krishna is speaking to
Mhm.
Arjun, he tells him to kill the soldiers because you're not really killing them; they'll be reincarnated. The process of
Oh,
samsara would continue. Yeah.
okay.
So,
Right,
and
right,
then
right, right.
Mormons are basically like, it's okay if someone dies without receiving the gospel because they'll just go to a different celestial kingdom. We should strive everything we should
No,
to spread the
no, no,
gospel.
no. As I
But,
was taught, hold on. As I was taught, that's not it. You will be sorted into which kingdom of heaven you go to
I wish I could
based
read the chat.
based on your spiritual condition. A very sacred and holy Hindu man who dies will go to the heaven that His Holiness made him worthy of. If he's worthy of the celestial kingdom, what religion he was part of won't play a part in that. Mormonism makes people good, but God judges what is good, not what is Mormon.
yeah, I believe there
Wait,
is none good but
what?
God, and Christ makes
Wait,
people
wait,
good.
wait,
So,
wait, wait. Uh,
In other words,
I, I'm,
Mormonism makes people good. God wants people to be good. Mormonism is very good at making people good, which is why God is, His holiness, His radiance reflects very strongly through the
yeah,
prism of
but
Mormonism.
Shaggy, I don't.
Wait
Yeah, no,
one second.
go
Chad
ahead.
King wanted to tell you hello. Now you can continue with Shaggy. Sorry.
Chad King. Okay, yeah, hello, Chad King. God bless everyone in the chat. God bless. I can't look at the chat right now. I can't look at the chat right now. I'm sorry about that. I'm just a bit debilitated at the moment.
Religion
Um,
is a prism through which to view God, that you might gain insight and understanding of yourself and your relationship with Him. You should not concern yourself with
yeah.
other people's relationship with God, save that it does not interfere with your own or that you can help them along their way.
Well, but who
Mormonism
is
is
saying?
superior to other religions because it was designed to be so, in accordance with God's plan for it.
Is this what you're Shaggy? Is this what you're saying? You aren't reading this from the chat or anything, right? Like this is
No,
just what you're saying,
this is
right?
just my words. Yeah, I'm just
Okay.
explaining very simple concepts.
Okay. Yeah, I don't think that's a bad thing. I don't enjoy holiness spiraling, right? I think holiness spiraling is a really big problem, has been a historically really big problem for the practical application of religions.
Holiness,
Leo, please.
yeah.
Yeah, yes, that's called legalism. The Pharisees
Yeah,
suffered
yeah,
from the same
like
problem. Yep.
physical chasbit, right? Like I feel like a lot of that stuff is has
Yeah,
interceded, even though
when Christ healed the paralytic at Bethesda, the first thing the Pharisees said to him is, "Why are you carrying a mat on the Sabbath?"
yeah
Their
yeah right
their concern was
yeah
not
they're
that the
concerned.
Son of God healed him; it was that he was carrying a mat on the
You
Sabbath.
got a
That's it.
bat. You got a bat right there, Goy.
You
What
got
the
your
hell
mat
are you
license.
doing?
You got your
You
mat
got your mat
license.
license. You got your mat license. Yeah, no, exactly. Yeah. No, yeah, okay. It's
Well, we
so,
have to
but
remember. Hold on. I would point out something like,
mhm.
you know, there's. I only found out recently that Scottish kilts didn't exist in the medieval age. They actually stem from around like the 1800s, the early 1800s. So I had a very anachronistic view of kilts in the same sense, thinking that that there were Jews like we're thinking uh existed in the time of Christ. It's not so. That religion that came about around the same time as the Muslim one. That's also
Well,
anachronistic. The
yes,
Israelite
you're correct. The Babylonian Talmud was written around 250 or 300 AD. The
Yeah,
Mishnah, as it was called. But however, if any Jew will tell you that the oral tradition was preserved previously.
there
So they believe that
the Talmud is
There,
specific records taken from the ancient Israeli tradition meant to affirm certain beliefs and certain principles. Remember that of all the tribes in Israel, only two really survived as a bloodline. So there was a
Benjamin
lot
and
of
Judah.
I'll be blunt. I don't think any tribe of Israel fucking survived after Rome beat their fucking asses in 70 AD. I'll tell you, that much,
Boom,
right?
facts.
Yeah, boom, like boom, boom. Fact, truth
no, no,
nuke,
no, no, no. The
truth
tribe
nuke.
of the Levites and the tribe of Judah survive.
There were
That's
Babylonian Jews. That's what Peter writes about.
Matrimonially,
let me give you my
Shaggy,
all
Okay,
right.
okay.
What
I'll let. Yeah, no,
according to
fair
what
enough.
I've read, according to what I've learned,
Mm,
what happened was
mm.
after the destruction or elimination of the other tribes, the Levites and who were basically like slaves and the or second class citizens and the Jews, they were essentially left alone on their own, and their traditions changed to reflect that. No longer the religion of the 12 tribes of Israel, it now became the religion of the Jews and the Levites, or Judaism, right? So Judaism was born from the death of Israel, really, is the two remaining tribes.
Judaism was born from the death of Christ.
An Israelite would have seen Judaism today as a post-apocalyptic cult. That's how they would see it. They would not see it as reflective of
A
their
cope of the
Yeah,
rejected
yeah.
Messiah.
That does sound like a cope. Respectfully, Shaggy, it does sound like that. I know you aren't making the argument for them.
Well, I'm not
You're just
talking about racially. Racially, they were all of Canaanite blood. But the truth of the matter is the people known as Jews today trace their lineage to the house of Judah or Levi. Those
mhm.
yeah, that doesn't. But that's not what being
That
an
is
Israel.
completely fair.
But here's the thing, that's not
No,
what being an Israelite is about. Israel is God's kingdom on earth. Anyone of any heritage can be an Israelite if they are adopted into one of the tribes. With the death of all the other tribes as part of God's plan, now those tribes
okay,
can
so then
be
what about
replaced by.
Rahab, the Canaanite prostitute, or Naaman, the Syrian general, or the widow of Sarepta that Elijah had raised from? None of them were ever adopted to any tribe, yet found favor with God.
Um, yeah, I mean, there are people who get to the celestial kingdoms who are not Mormon, but to help with God's plan, you have to sort of be a Mormon. That's where the plan
The
is.
Apostle Paul wrote of them as the all stars of faith in Hebrews chapter 11.
Yeah, personal
Like a
holiness,
Canaanite prostitute
I'm
was
literally about to go grab the Bible. I'm about to go grab the Bible. I
like
wanna
again, yeah, I guess a prostitute would have.
Leo and Shaggy, you're getting me hyped for getting the Bible. Loved the chat, by the way. I can't see you guys, but I
based.
love you guys. Base,
Listen,
yeah.
I
No,
don't
I no. This is awesome. This is so good. This is so good. This is wonderful conversation. This is so
I
amazing.
I'll just say this, right? Christianity is
The God I worship, Shaggy, is no respecter of persons. That's what the Apostle Peter told to Cornelius, right? The Roman
okay.
centurion. It's the idea that there's any kind of genetic component is contrary to the Apostle Paul, who said, concern yourself with endless genealogies. Circumcision is not of the flesh, but of the heart. I mean, he has not the spirit of Christ, then he is none of
Look,
his.
I think that offerings to the dead are you know that should be a part of any religion, realistically. That's a very important part of spirituality. So I have no problem with the baptisms for the dead. As for the recording of the dead, in form of stuff like Ancestry.com and the record keeping, that's useful to society. There's a benefit to that.
Shaggy, the Apostle Paul writes about baptism for the dead, and it's to be for those who live the life of that Christ poured out on the day of Pentecost.
Yeah,
He
we're
talks
gonna
about
we're
it in First
gonna we're
Corinthians.
gonna just baptize all the dead people. God will know his own.
But he wasn't talking about the ritual that was invented by Joseph Smith in the 1800s.
Well, Joseph Smith didn't invent anything. Those rituals were.
You're right. Actually, it came from Scottish Freemasonry.
Yeah. Yeah, and the
Oh
Freemasons
no.
had those are the rituals passed down from the original church that were also used by the Knights Templar and various
The
other
secret
sacred organizations.
combinations. The secret
Well,
combinations.
Those aren't secret combinations. God is
My Lord told Caiaphas, in secret I have taught nothing.
Look, Mormon history is fascinating and does trace itself to Freemasonry and is badass.
I find the contradictions of Mormonism and how it perverts Christ's teachings is fascinating. It's actually absurd.
Leo,
All
I
right.
guess
So what
if
is
we're going to,
other than historical
Leo, let
differences?
me.
What is our disagreement here? Like let's tackle
The
it.
fundamental character of God. You
Right,
think
right.
that the
But
teachings
are
were
you
taught in
against?
secret and
Do
preserved.
you,
Are you,
okay. I feel like I gotta. I'll be the mediator because it feels like this is getting to a blood sports debate. I can mediate. Yeah, I can mediate. I'm right
Yeah,
out
Shaggy,
here.
you were saying.
I'm loving God. But yeah, no. Yeah, let's Shaggy continue. But I
I
can mediate.
just look. I feel that I believe it's my belief, my sincere belief that the God that Christ embodied is something that in many ways we cannot comprehend. Um, it's something that no religion will be able to explain without a lot of symbolism. Um,
I mean, Christ taught in parables.
yeah,
I like that symbolism. There are visions that were given throughout. I like that symbolism. I don't like bee symbolism, like the Jaredites bring over the honeybee and Brigham Young naming Deseret after, essentially that history. And the Jaredites, they worshipped a different God. God didn't confuse their language. The original Adamic language was brought to the New World by the Jaredites, if you hold the record of the Book of Mormon to be true.
look, I'm gonna say, my own philosophy, and this is probably gonna sound wildly heretical to you. I'm sure many people in my own church would consider what I'm about to say wildly heretical, but I'm a proponent of the idea that holiness or closeness with God, progress along your own personal journey to Him, is the goal of all spiritual practice. Religion is a way to regulate that. I don't really care if the Book of Mormon was composed of visions Joseph Smith had while eating mushrooms, for all I care. What I care about is that it is a effective way to communicate with God. It is a real God, a very real God, right? But we are limited in what we can
It
understand.
is. It is.
We
It's called the
are
God of this
we
world.
are
The God of this world,
three-dimensional
Satan.
beings trying to communicate with a being that operates, quite frankly, on a much higher dimension than that. So for us to try and communicate with the cosmic oneness of the universe, we're going to have to use a lot of symbolism. So I honestly, the Book of Mormon could be real history. I wasn't there. I wasn't alive to see whether the Nephites had elephants or whatever. I don't like it. I don't care. The Book of
Yeah, I
Mormon.
don't. Yeah, Shaggy, I don't care about the archaeological evidence against the Book of Mormon
Yeah,
either.
I'm
But
saying it's a spiritual tool uh, to progress in your understanding
what I'm
of
concerned
God's
with is
nature.
the prophecies, because there are many prophecies in Book of Mormon that are coming to pass.
But
It
yeah,
talks about the rise of
I mean, a lot
anti-Semitism,
of people have
atheism,
the
the
gift of
rebuilding of
being
Jerusalem.
able to like listen. The fourth dimension is time, and some people have a gift
I
where they
just
can
totally
see
disagree with that
just a
nonsense.
little
My gosh,
bit.
it's Hollywood nonsense.
What do you think the fourth dimension is then,
Well,
Leo? Sorry,
Mathematically speaking, it's just another column in a table. Like, it's not what is the fourth
it's
dimension
just
being
it's
time?
so
yeah,
no.
it's just a
Anyway,
thing.
what I would say is I definitely believe there are dimensions, and I believe that the provable one, the one we can prove exists, is time. We can go only one direction in the fourth dimension, whereas we can go any direction in the other three. We are third dimensional beings. A fourth dimensional
Wow.
being would not perceive time as we do. Okay, and something much higher than that. I don't think God sees time as a progress of events. I think he's aware of everything at once because he's omnipotent, right? I think there's a great, like that's you have to really consider what omnipotence would mean. And that means contemplating a lot of things that would seem more at home in H.P. Lovecraft than a church setting. Like, you have to understand what eternal and omnipotent would look like.
I just don't understand how that justifies the. You talk about dimensions, metaphysics. I'm talking about
It means that
the
in order,
character of
like,
God.
your relationship with God should be about being a more holy person. It should be about nothing other than that. It should be about being a better,
Holy meaning separate. Just to clarify for you, Shaggy, holy
more
meaning separate.
enlightened. I don't know if I'm the best person to describe this concept, but enlightenment, betterment, the ideal
Well,
version of you. You're supposed to try to
Shaggy,
make.
listen. You can talk about this, theological concept. The character of the God I worship and you worship is fundamentally different. All right, the God I worship sent His Son to experience human life and give an unfallen spirit to humanity, and that man was from the tribe of Judah. So the spiritual Judah is
well,
those who
and
place their
the
faith in
big
Christ.
the
You worship a God
sorry
who's
sorry.
you worship a bloodthirsty real estate broker who thinks a plot of land in the Middle East needs to be upheld for these people that meet
I'm
particular
sorry,
genetic
I
requirements.
don't. The
Ooh,
church
wait
is
wait wait
not.
wait wait. Wait.
Listen, the church is not pro that country in any sense. We don't have any money invested there. We give them uh, what
Except
is
Brigham Young University has a
Well,
study center overlooking the Mount of Olives.
well, yeah. I mean, there's
okay,
some
okay,
like,
Leo.
we've got a few if like holdings there, but like nothing significant. It's not like the Mormon Church is centered in Utah. We like our Israel is America. It's an American religion. It's not about Israel. I've been a member
Yeah,
of
and
three.
that's what my God is bigger than America.
Yes, but your religion is
God is
actually smaller than my religion. Frankly, we have more members. So,
You think
well that
my
but that
like
doesn't.
numbers are from a denomination?
yes.
You think incorrectly then.
Yeah, I actually I would agree with Leo on this point, Shaggy. I would not
The
to.
moment there's more than three people who agree with you, it's some sort of denomination, I'm sure. I mean, I
Yeah,
doubt you don't fit into anything. You're
two
hold on, aren't
Jews,
you? Are
three
you not a?
factions,
Are
right?
you not? Are you a? I'm actually asking. I'm not going to presume anything here. Are you a Seventh Day Adventist?
I mean, I'm baptized in that church. That's what my parents are baptized in. But I haven't been, I preached a sermon that got, a little bit of hot water, and I wasn't kicked out, but they privately or silently
I
censured me,
heard about
not
this
allowing me to preach, to
after
preach anymore. Yeah. So
after you saw Ashton presented starfish. He thought it was
Who
cool.
cares? Who
What?
cares? Who
What?
cares about the
No.
I
fat
heard.
boy?
This
cares?
That's
that was
No.
nonsense.
Let's
That's
just
nonsense.
I know
ixnay on the
it's
ixnay on the
obviously
atfe.
nonsense. It's
Why
obviously nonsense.
ixnay on the atfe? Who fucking cares about fat boy? Who cares about the fat faggot who has betrayed every single person he's always interacted with?
Well, Shaggy's a
Fat.
fan, so let's not open that can
Well,
of
I don't
worms.
know.
He's a
No, I'm a
fanaticism.
fan. I
I'm
don't.
not.
I'm not on the payroll. Go on, by all means.
No, why? It's like
Because
I hate the talk about respectfully to you, Shaggy. Very respectfully to you, Shaggy. I hate
I'm
the
not
talk
his
about
lawyer.
I understand. No, I'm just saying. Like I just like fuck. Obviously, Ashton Parks is going to always betray everyone he interacted with. He did it from the from the minute he came into the sector, right? Like, get the fuck on. Not to you, but to the whole je ne sais quoi of the thing, right? Fuck that. It's just so I don't know. I don't know. I but anyway, go ahead, fellas. Sorry. I just
But yeah, I'm not ashamed to say a lot of my understanding did initially come from the Seventh Day Adventist Church, but I'm not. I'm Christian first, right? Denominations like where you can learn things. You can learn things from Baptist church, Catholic churches. I mean, like ultimately, I believe that there are Seventh Day Adventist pastors who are going to be going to the not so good place, and there are Catholics and Mormons who might be accepted to heaven. The Father judges no man, but has committed all judgment unto the Son. All right. So it's not about what denomination you associate with, it's what spirit do you have, as Paul said, right?
yes.
If they have not the spirit of Christ,
the
then they are
spirit
none
of
of
the
his.
law.
So
Spirit of
exactly.
law.
Thank you, Rist. Exactly. So, but to say that Mormonism is the pure template, it's the only way, while yet having a totally different spirit to it, is why I am against Mormonism. What this fetishization of America, it's like the kingdom of God can be established in Independence, Missouri, the New Jerusalem
don't be
brought down to earth.
nihilistic.
It's so contrary to the character. No, it's so
Don't be
contrary to the
nihilistic.
character of God. I'm not. No. Wait, did you? Okay. Aside from how absurd the definition of nihilism to what I'm talking about, I believe there is an actual God.
Oh, fuck
These
off.
rules and
Let's just look. I
regulations,
say
no,
just
these rules and
rebuild Camelot.
regulations are atheistic. No, Shaggy, I'm not going to let you get off on that. These rules and regulations of trying to manifest the kingdom of God, that's atheistic. You're like, Christ is just far out in heaven. We need to make it happen here.
Boo.
Leo, once you're done, just let Shaggy talk respectfully. No, you need to do that. Thank you.
The quest
thank
to
you.
rebuild the kingdom of God on earth is that's something that's cherished and sacred to all societies. It's the measure of by which we establish our worthiness to live as civilization amongst his creation. I mean, I don't think there's anything wrong with trying to rebuild a society in the image that God would want us to run it. And I think it's insane to think that God would want us to have some like bullshit understanding of Jedi like nonsense in order to
George
divine
Lucas, Gunga,
yeah, I mean,
like Jar Jar
you're
Binks.
not going to need to be a fucking wizard to figure out how God wants you to organize and run a society.
Right.
The Book of Mormon is very clear.
Right. So when Jesus told the Pharisees, render unto Caesar the things which be Caesar's, render unto God the things which be God's, Christ acknowledged that there are things that belong to Caesar. Like government laws, these are things that belong to Caesar. But to to say that the government has part of God, meaning blasphemy laws or ways to enforce how people worship, you are giving more to Caesar than what belongs to him.
Look, I don't think the church should, the government should be the church. I think the government should be subject to the church. I think the church should, in all regards, like influence the direction of society. Theocracy, theocratic monarchy, rather, would and I'm not a political sage, I'm not a political scholar, but when I like ask myself the question, well, what would be the best form of government ideally? Well, I guess that would be a powerful Mormon theocratic monarchy.
Yeah, but to clarify, Leo, before you interject, to clarify, Shaggy, you think that is the most optimal form of government? I like, or as you could render it at the moment, right?
Well, I
I'm
don't
not
think
trying to
it,
misinterpret your
I
position.
mean, I don't think it would, for the welfare of the next generation, yeah, but for people who are used to living in
Okay.
a highly pornographic society of
Yeah.
dopamine addiction, it would be an incredible, it would not be an easy,
Whiplash.
yeah,
It,
yeah.
we have a whiplash sort of thing, like
I,
just.
I, I honestly don't think it could be achieved in a single generation without bloodshed, and it would be better ushered in over generations. But like, I don't have a plan to get there. Otherwise, I'd be some sort of prophet or leader. This is all
Right.
just like
Yeah.
what would be ideal. In practice, I'm a
Yeah.
fucking
What would
Republican.
be
In practice,
what the like
yeah, in
what
practice.
aboutism, right?
Yeah, in practice, I'm a MAGA Republican because that's what I actually make of the options I have. It's not about what do I ideally believe in or any of that shit. It's what are my politics and how do they affect the world around me? Well, I vote MAGA Republican. So that's what I am.
Okay, so if I could answer that, you said it's very idealized, right? I don't have. It's not an idealization; it's a reality. Because when the Pharisees demanded of Christ, they said, "When the kingdom of God should come," Jesus answered and said to them, "The kingdom of God comes not with observation; neither shall they say, Lo here or Lo there. For
Leo, this
behold,
country
the kingdom
worship
of God
faith.
is within you."
Leo,
But you
this
see, the kingdom of God is within you. It's not in, Masonic buildings
yeah.
or
Look,
political
that
parties.
that's
It's not an ideal. No, Shaggy, it's not an ideal. I believe Christ is actually real. That's the difference. So when an atheist comes up to you and say, "Oh, what about like when you're in a situation and are you really going to bless your enemies if they're like stealing from you and stuff, or like they're punching you?" And stuff? Those hypotheticals presuppose God doesn't exist,
I don't look.
right? No,
I
you
think
are basically saying that we need to
so.
make
Just
this
get look.
facsimile of the kingdom of God
I
because
think
God
God.
isn't actually real.
I think God genuinely appreciates the temples and shrines and buildings that are built to honor him as an expression of love from
Yeah,
society.
tell that to King Josiah.
Okay, I don't right. Well, I think he really appreciates the intention behind these churches that are built to honor him. And
I think God loved Terry A.
I
Davis's
think that
Temple
for
OS
those churches and such to
incredibly.
be built, you have to have civilization. And civilization should be based on religious principles so that those temples and such get built and people live lives in accordance with rituals that bring them closer to a meaningful understanding of God and their relationship with Him. And I think that for a culture to be strong, it should have coherent and individual religious traditions that, define them from their neighbors and help reinforce racial, you know, uh,
Ethical and
racial, ethical, and cultural boundaries. You know,
right.
a strong religious foundation is what keeps a culture healthy. The stronger your cultural relationship with God, the stronger the success of your racial dynamic. I think the state white people are in today is because they embraced a lot of neo corporate bullshit in the 80s and the 90s, all starting in the 60s with the disease that was the free love movement and all that shit. But
Well,
like,
whites, but also whites are wolves to whites. It's like we're the one race that doesn't have racial homogeneity, in my opinion. I don't think we have that.
white
Like
people look, the
I think
difference between an Irishman and a German is as the difference between a Vietnamese and a Mongolian. It's there, it's
right.
just like ultimately Asians are Asians, whites are whites. But
You're
my
right.
point
Right. Yeah.
about this is that, like, yes, religion is a good thing in society. It's something that, as a responsible adult, we should encourage is religious practices. The best religion for America is the Mormon Church because of how American it is. America should be Mormon. It would be much healthier as a Mormon country. That is the honest truth.
You're saying just to clarify your position. I just want to clarify your position. You're saying because Mormonism has pro-social elements to its praxis, as in like irrespective of whether you believe the religion or not, if you engage in its tenets, you are doing positive things, right? It would be better if America embraced Mormonism than if it didn't, if it rejected it effectively.
Look, if America embraced Mormonism as the foundation of its culture, it would be a lot stronger. There would be a lot less tolerance for anti-white bias. There would be a lot less disparity in regards how the various racial communities were treated, because there are certain rules in Mormonism in regards to how different racial groups should interact, and that's all carefully explained equitably. But Mormonism was built to be the racial and spiritual and cultural
Excuse me.
foundation of the United States. That's what it was designed
Okay,
to be.
so am
Uh,
I allowed to
yeah.
give a take? So I'd like to just point both of you, brethren, to the Apostle Paul's speech at Mars Hill when he was speaking to the Athenians, who were some of the biggest brain nibbas of the day, right? And he was walking about their idolatry, like their beautiful ornate statues of all their different gods. And he saw one statue, if you will, that had a stand that had no statue, and it was written to the unknown God. They didn't know who was the true God, so they made this thing, the stand to the unknown God. And while Paul, he gives a speech to them that I think is extremely pertinent to this conversation. He explains how, as he passed through, examining the objects, I'm reading from Acts chapter 17, I also found an altar with this inscription: to an unknown God, the unknown God. Therefore, what you worship in ignorance, this I will proclaim to you. The God who made the world of all things, since he is Lord of heaven and earth, does not dwell in temples made with hands, nor is he served by human hands, as though he needed anything, since he himself gives to all people life and breath and all things. And he that made one man every nation of mankind to live on all the face of the earth had determined their appointed times and boundaries of their habitation, that they would seek God, if perhaps they might find him, though he be not far from each one of us. So Paul basically points back to the Tower of Babel when God had separated the races. He already knew in advance that the races should be separated, and he intended that each race would discover him in their own way and express their worship and relationship with him individually.
Absolutely.
This great miscegenation combination of races, that's not, it's there's religious syncretism and there's like racial syncretism. It's like all being combined. Satan wanted to establish that at the Tower of Babel, and he's doing it again today. That's obviously not what I support, but in all cases, it's still not a theocracy, because when Jesus performed miracles, people actually tried to seize him to make him a king, and he departed. I don't know if you guys know about that. It was like that's from John chapter 6. When he had performed a miracle, they were amazed.
Yeah, Leo, I'm not a heathen. I'm sorry. Just please don't.
Yeah, but Shaggy, what you're describing, that like, oh, these are the best principles. This is the same arguments that I hope you know the Pharisees, who mockingly hissed at Jesus on the cross, said, "Oh, if he's the king of Israel, why doesn't he come down from the cross?" The Roman soldiers beat Jesus up and dressed him with a gown and plaited a crown of thorns on him because they mocked the idea of him being a literal king.
We believe Jesus.
So you think the idea of Jesus being a literal king, needs to be physically expressed through government.
But he did come down from the cross. He came down the Americas. He came down, he scolded them for eating their babies.
So you're identifying with the Pharisees?
No, I'm just disagreeing with your narration of events. Christ did, in fact, come down from the cross.
That's not what the events are. The Pharisees mocked Christ dying in agony on the cross, saying that if he really was the king of Israel, he would come down at that instant. Jesus died on the cross and
Yeah,
was
and
taken
then he
down
came.
and resurrected.
Yeah, he let them
But
destroy
I'm
his
saying
body.
at that moment, he did not come down the cross. He did not obey the dictates of the Pharisees.
He came down in the perfect time and in the manner that he intended to.
Yeah, I know he went to find the lost sheep. I know the other sheep. I
Because
called
he's
other. I know
omnipotent.
the Mormon view. I know that he came to
Oh,
Zarahemla. He preached to the Nephites and the Lamanites. He gave the three witnesses that are living forever to this day.
Well, he's literally like a master of reality. So yeah, he kind of control everything. He was Jesus, literally Jesus. So
But you're changing the topic. I'm saying your identity. The Pharisees who set up thought that the righteousness of God could manifest through these extra
But
laws and extra regulation.
God can't.
I think that
God is everything that happens,
I
right?
think
God is
that
everything that happens,
I
right?
think that every culture builds great monuments to their worship for the Lord, and Mormon temples are
Oh,
based. And
well.
like, there's a lot of
Sorry.
based. Hold on, there's a lot of based monuments to God in the world. There's all sorts of cool Japanese shit. There's a bunch of cool ancient Roman shit. There's Stonehenge and stuff like that. But the Mormon culture builds really cool temples, and those things are modern and active today and relevant to my culture. So I'm going to choose to worship God, that way because it's
The
like,
God of this world, yeah.
it's Christianity as Christ would advocate people, practice it in America. It's the American way to be Christian. So I guess that's what I'm saying. It's it works for Hispanics as well, I guess. They've done a lot with it. So kudos to them. But yeah, no, if white people in the United States embrace Mormonism, it would work well. It would work well in Europe too, honestly. And it is really good
And
for
they will. No, mark my words, they will. All these Eastern Orthodox bros,
Wait,
trad
was
Catholics
this?
and stuff, they're going to become Mormon.
Wait, apologies. Just it does a sidebar interjection. Was this like a debate between you guys? Did I get in between debate?
No.
Between you?
We were just talking
Oh,
about
okay.
stuff. But I mean,
Oh,
Shaggy
okay.
just worships a different Christ.
There's
It's that simple.
it's not a fucking
Yeah.
uh you know there's not multiple Christs. There's multiple religions.
Well,
Yeah,
the
there are
Apostle Paul
multiple
disagrees with you.
religions.
He
There are
warned
multiple.
in his
Well,
epistle to the
there are
Corinth.
multiple. There are multiple religions, and which one is the truth?
Yeah,
Like Shiva, right?
Pilate asked the same thing.
wash my
And then
hands.
Jesus
I
said,
wash my hands of this
no.
shit.
When he asked, the last words Pilate said to Jesus is when he asked, like, are you, is what they're saying true?
look,
And Jesus
it's
said, I
not
am the truth. And
look.
Pilate said, no, stop.
Why is it's not a
Pilate said,
shell
what
game?
is truth?
It's not
He
a
said,
shell
what is
game,
truth?
dude. It's not a shell game. Okay, you worship Jesus.
I don't know what you're talking about. I'm telling you the record that Pilate saying what is truth is what led him to say, I find no fault in him, therefore take ye and crucify him. And then Pilate went off and partied with King Herod. Pilate is not a good man. I don't know if you guys know that.
Yeah, he washed his hands of Barabbas,
but he was still an evil man. He's an evil man.
No, yeah,
his
no,
indifference to the truth standing before him is what led to the crucifixion of Jesus.
Yeah, he was kind of a dick. I gotta. I mean that's kind of a dick. But my whole thing is, like.
But the last words he said were, "What is truth?" And then he left Jesus and pronounced the sentence on him.
Yeah, well, okay, he had a good point there, but he made the wrong call. I don't know what to say.
I don't think he had a good point.
I think he made the right call, and he didn't make a good point to chase Leo's.
No, I don't think. I don't know. I don't think he made it's truth is a person.
Oh, okay.
Well,
yeah.
truth is the Christos. Truth is the Christos,
you know,
right?
if I had the opportunity to meet Christ in flesh before my death and hang out with him, that would be epic. But there's way more worthy people than me
But
who
he
would
sent us
probably
his spirit.
spirit that.
He sent us his
No,
spirit
Yeah, yeah, he
so he
did.
no,
can be with
Yeah,
you.
he did.
no,
But the
no.
Holy
The
Spirit
act.
is like something that can be felt by people of even the Islamic faith. So, like, I mean,
Shaggy. I just, yeah.
what? There's only one God, man. There's only one God. There's only one Satan,
And
and
he is the Lord Jesus Christ, and he is born 3 as 1, and he is born in
those who
Jerusalem,
draw
died at Bethlehem.
those who draw close to Christ do so not through what they preach and believe, but through their nature. Those who are Christ-like will be with him. They know
I
him in
love
the
this
spirit.
Nog Gim guy in the chat. He's hilarious. I
Wait,
think
wait,
he'd vibe with
is
you.
he
It's
saying?
probably some
No,
He's,
I
asshole.
he's-
can't see the
let
chat.
me read you. Let me read some of these bangers? We
Yeah,
must always
please
remember
read some of
that
these
we are
beggars.
yeah, we must always remember that we are at war with Yahweh. We are the Laban, the white shepherd guarding his flock from mixture, the white bricks of the Tower of Babel. So a great race that God fears us. You see, and then he keeps saying, like, when God tried to break the will of the Aryan,
Oh, that's
destroying their
epic.
civilization,
That's epic.
for fear they would ascend to him. Little did they know. He says, and then he says, you know, Pilate was trying to protect his race from Hebrew subversion. These are some real
The
bangers in here.
Jews, the
Oh,
Jews.
damn, that's
I just
fucking
want you to know
hilarious.
that's the mindset of the people that are going to shoot Donald Trump in the right eye.
Yeah, the Jews. No, okay, wait, Leo, hold up. You are. I remember I asked you on the election stream. Are you still a Donald Trump truther about the bullet? About the
Donald
bullet?
Trump is an actor on the world stage. He's a thespian, and
Okay.
he's going to get shot in the
Okay.
right eye on the world stage, but he'll be fine.
But it'll be fine. Okay.
But it'll
he's
be fake. But that's after
Okay.
the nuke. That's after we see the
Okay.
mushroom cloud on our screen,
Okay.
and then
Okay.
people prostrate to Shiva.
Right. Yeah. Right. Okay. No. I just wanted to get your actual, and I'm not being facetious about this. I want your actual opinion about this because I feel like you are the kind of person who just tells your opinion about this in a very beautiful way.
Yeah, I'm being completely serious. Yeah, the take.
Yeah.
What is it? The Butler, Pennsylvania rally was pre-recorded, completely staged and fake, just like the moon landing, just like so many other what is it? The Boston bombing, Boston Marathon bombing.
Yeah, the Boston
Sandy
Marathon
Hook,
bombing. Yeah,
other parts. All these totally fake with crisis actors, pre-recorded, staged, faked.
Right.
You need to understand Donald Trump is friends with Biden, with Obama, and all this stuff. We have stagecraft is what is running our government. Satan rules by lies, so we live in the kingdom of lies. And Christ told Satan that a kingdom divided will not stand. The implication of that is Satan rules through division. That's where our bipartisan politics comes in. That's where there's this constant.
But there's no agreement with anybody anywhere ever, right? Almost.
Yes,
right?
because we live in the kingdom of Satan. Yeah,
right.
Kingdom
Exactly.
of lies.
Yeah.
And what it is essentially when people treat their screens like an extension of their perception, like another sense, if you will. So if they see a mushroom cloud on the screen, they'll think a nuke actually went off, and they'll lock themselves in. They'll be afraid. And when they see Nick Fuentes shoot Donald Trump in the right eye and stuff, they'll believe he's actually dead and that kind of nonsense. But it will happen on the screen, but it's not going to really happen.
Right.
You think Nick Fuentes really?
If not Fuentes himself, probably one of his followers.
I think Fuentes is probably going to be one of
the.
No, Fuentes is
no.
I mean, listen, Fuentes sat at Mar-a-Lago. He sat at Mar-a-Lago, and he's going to be like, "How about another joke, Donald?" And right in the right eye.
No,
yeah,
but he
legitimately insane.
He's like he's such a fucking idiot. Fuentes is such a fucking idiot because he was like he first of all he let himself get recorded on police cameras
because he was getting fucked by Kanye and Milo. Let's just be real.
Well, yeah. No, to be fair, I'm pretty sure that's true. I'm pretty sure Milo and Kanye pwned him anally. but then also it's like you should not let yourself get recorded by police cameras. Like when somebody's gonna like, I'm coming to your fucking door, when it's very obvious that you have implications of you being a federal agent, right? You should not do this shit. It's just like
Well,
fucking
I just think it's
retarded.
hilarious that the guy who he had killed 3 people and their dogs, but then he gingerly waltzes over to Prince's house and it's like, hey Nick, knock.
Knock,
Let me
knock,
not.
who's there?
I don't want to interrupt his stream. Make sure I get posed well.
I don't want to earn
the
your epic heckin' $10 from 420 Heil Hitler Groiper.
And dude, the guy was wearing like what? Like he had the same like Luigi Mangione follower, like jacket with a crossbow. What is he, Assassin's Creed? This is insane. But don't worry, it's fine.
No, it was definitely that was really real. That was really real. Yeah.
That was real. That happened. Yeah. I saw it on the news. So it's real.
I saw it on the news. It was fucking real.
Yeah, the guy was a total ninja. Total mall ninja. But like
Shaggy,
Yasuke Ninja.
Do you think Thomas Crooks really, tried to fire the Big Don?
I don't give a shit about any of that crap.
Oh, you don't get indifference. Oh, you don't want to say.
I honestly, it could. Does the government get up to all sorts of sneaky shit? Yeah, it's a government.
Wait. Leo asked me the same question. I will answer you wholesale. I will embrace the fire. The fire rises.
The fire rises. We give it back to you, the people.
We give it back to you, the people.
As he said during his first inauguration. You know, Trump said that during his first inauguration speech. The
Did he?
Yes, he said, "We give it back to you, the people." Yeah.
What is the fucking? No, but ask me the thing you just asked Shaggy, because I'll answer.
All right. Do you think 713 Butler, Pennsylvania was a real event where Donald Trump's life was in danger?
That's an interesting question. I do think somebody put a bullet, attempted to put a bullet through his ear. However, what I will concede to is that it is a very convenient event, because at the moment when because I'm not a libtard, right? I'm not a libtard in the slightest, and I kind of like understood how a libtard like emotionally feels.
Who cares? Right? Like, what is it? What does politics have to do?
No. What I'm saying is that it's like the emotional element of it was the evocative thing. If it's real,
you said it was
not.
Convenient. No, Rist, I love it. You said it was convenient. You know, Steve Bannon claimed that Trump getting shot at 6:11 p.m. tied to Ephesians 6:11, that put on the full armor of God, that he was protected divinely by God. J.D. Vance said he saw the hand of God protect Donald Trump during that event. In fact, many MAGA Christians said that Trump getting his ear pierced matches the Aaronic priesthood in Leviticus chapter 8, where the blood of a bull was put on.
But everybody, but my brother Leo Pirate, everybody, all of those people can be insane. I'm not.
Trump is simply look. Trump was chosen by God to be president, but no, that doesn't make him.
Yeah, and I believe the God he was chosen by is the father of lies. Who rules through stagecraft.
There can obviously be a Luciferian thing. There can always be a Luciferian thing.
Yeah, and you want to talk about Satan, the father of lies? Jesus called him the father of lies. He rules through stagecraft, through ceremonies and rituals that people believe are real. You know, ancient Mesopotamian, like if you will, civilizations who were unaware of the cycle of the eclipses, their priesthood could control masses of people by dramatically gesturing to the sky as an eclipse happened, because they didn't know about the cycles of eclipse, and they would think that their priesthood had celestial power to control what happens in the sky.
Sure. Leo, I think they control people. I'll be blunt with you. I think they control people by walking a lot of them up and ripping their hearts out and just
Yeah,
throwing them
that had
off
a
the
lot to do
fucking
with it. A lot more to do with
cigarette.
what they preached and the fact
Yeah,
that they killed all the
I
other
think they were
people
able to
that
literally physically walk them up there
and killed them.
across those ziggurats
Yeah, this thing.
and rip their fucking hearts
It
out
wasn't through
and like
evangelism that
throw
that
them out and
religion was
throw them
spread.
off.
It was spread it
Yeah,
by
Yeah,
like
no,
but
killing
it was
people who
through
didn't.
the power of the big knife.
Yeah,
So
yeah, but I'm
if
saying that faked miracles are a part of every single,
yeah,
religion,
no,
which is binding people.
which is absolutely fair. No, I'm giving you that. I'm giving you that. Absolutely, I'm absolutely giving you that. What I'm saying, is that I don't know why engineer such a uh, uh,
7/13 is Julius Caesar's birthday.
yeah, I know. I
Doug
understand.
Mills is the same photographer who shot the picture of the bullet whizzing past Trump's ear. It's the same photographer who shot the picture of George Bush in the classroom where that guy whispered, "A second plane has hit the tower, Mr. President." It's the same photographer, Doug Mills. He just
Yeah, I
happened to be
know.
in that
I know.
classroom, in
Yeah, he just
September, and
happened to
also in
be.
Butler, Pennsylvania.
Yes, he just
SOP,
happened to be.
standard operating procedure. It's just that's what it is.
I don't.
The
If it is
prophets of
that,
Baal. No, the
if it is
prophets of
that,
Baal in the days of Elijah. King Ahab and Queen and Jezebel,
Leo,
they introduced the worship of Baal and Ashtaroth through the prophets of Baal. And Elijah, a Tishbite, not one of the 12 tribes of Israel, came in, was called by God, and exposed their false miracles and their false worship at the contest in Mount Carmel. And something similar is going to happen these days. And I just don't want to be on the side of the prophets of Baal, like Shaggy is.
Yeah. What? What the? Okay.
that's lovely. Look, I mean, I think that if Satan was able, here's my response to that. Right? How is it that a false Jesus could plant a false tree with better fruit? I just don't see how. So if you buy their fruit, you shall know them.
No,
How is it that
that's quite literally
rather than
Right,
judge it
yeah.
the
by
Antichrist.
judge it by the
That's the
sweetness of the
Antichrist.
fruit, but you want to cut down the tree to count the rings?
You say it's better fruit. I say it's not even fruit. It's plastic fruit, the kind you put in decoration in your living room.
Yeah, but no, that doesn't really.
It's
fit
just,
the
it's not even,
allegory.
it's just not real. It's
No, the
fake.
fruit is what comes of it. The fruit is literally what comes of the religion. What comes
The
of
white and
Mormonism
delightsome
is
people
Leo,
verifiably
of the
good.
LDS faith.
Leo, do you want to know why I don't think that shot at his head was a fake shot?
Why do you
Because
think it's
Good
real?
things produce
why I
good
don't think it's
things.
real.
No, I don't know. Why do you
Because
think it's real? No, why do you think it's real? I actually want to know why. Because I want
oh,
convincing
okay.
evidence that it was a real
Okay.
event.
Oh, okay. But that's a harder.
Were you going to say the opposite?
No.
Oh, no, I didn't mean to interrupt you, Rist. I didn't.
No. It's okay. No. I don't think I can convince you it's real. I'm just gonna tell you that. I don't
you don't
think
need to
I can
convince me. I want to know
real.
the evidence. Like, what? Why do you think it's real?
I think a president who takes the amount of actions that he has taken in regards to how he engages in policy, in the specific policies he's engaged in, I think those, like the tariff stuff, I think all of those elements are real politic, like Henry Kissinger level, like.
But you think Donald Trump is the one doing it, and that he's not just a front for
No.
someone else?
I don't think Donald Trump is doing it. I think he's delegated it substantially. But he's like a fountainhead through which he's delegating all of these elements, right? And I'm not to be clear to you, good sir.
No, but could he be
good brother.
delegated? Could someone delegate it to him to do those certain things?
Could someone delegate it to him? Could someone delegate to him? I don't think so. If I believe that somebody tried to take a bullet and put it like that's the thing, right? If I believe, and this is the quantifying question, right? if I believe that somebody actually took a bullet to his head, which I get it. Like, if it was a manufactured bullet to his head, it would be a great manufacturer for consensus for doing all the stuff that has literally happened after July 13th.
13th.
Yeah, 2024.
But
right?
you're presupposing, so what you saw on the screen. That's
No. I'm not presupposing anything. I'm just saying if hypothetically that was true, all of this would be justified, right? If hypothetically it was a manufactured like blammo, I am absolutely willing to like.
No, but like I don't think Trump hired someone to miss a shot at him. I think it was pre-recorded, like WWE. Like you didn't see any bullets except for Doug Mills' photograph. You heard shots and him duck and go at his ear, while the audience in the background had signs that said "You're fired," referencing The Apprentice. We saw it on our screens. I also saw King Kong on top of the Chrysler building on my screen, but I don't think that's real.
I think I guess my only contention with that would be that I think there was somebody who actually went up there and like tried to put a bullet in his brain.
Yeah,
and
I disagree.
there were a number of and there was simultaneously it was like a simultaneous thing, right? I feel like the USAID, like the entire CIA apparatus, all of this like psyop stuff has consistently promulgated a setting for every situation that they're in, for everything, right? They were in everything. They were in every single piece of literature from the 1960s onwards, right? And I'm not saying that as.
So I think JFK's assassination was also fake. You know, the Zapruder film came out more than a decade after what happened in Dealey Plaza in November 22nd, 1963. Like when it happened, it was just announced on the news. The footage that was then later shown came out a decade later. And I hope you know, in the 60s, not everyone had cameras. And, if you really get down to it, if you want to talk about predictive programming, Frank Sinatra had a film where there was where he took a sniper rifle to the president in that film. I forgot the name of it. There was
I know exactly the film you're talking about because it's like he shoots the bad guy, right? He gets away from his particular program and he shoots the bad guy, quote unquote.
No, there's a Manchurian Candidate as well, and these films came out before the assassination of JFK, quote unquote, quotation marks, assassination of JFK. There's a great paper written in the 80s called King Kill 33, where you can look at the Masonic symbolism in the entire stage Dealey Plaza event. Even the names, like there's elements of Wizard of Oz in the stagecraft, like Lee Harvey Oswald was taken out by Jack Ruby Slippers, Oz, like it's the three hobos in the back are like the three witches from Macbeth, the Camelot story behind JFK.
Let's see if there's anything good.
All right. Well, anyway, it's like 4 a.m. It's 4:40.
If we're gonna call it off, I would like to, Leo. I would like to just talk all this stuff with you because this is like I'm absolutely willing to.
We're Discord friends. We can talk about it for sure.
Yeah, we're Discord friends for real.
But just know that fake news becomes fake history. And then our future decisions are based on fake history.
And chat, do not trust like the Goya media. Just do not. It isn't even that you have to trust what we're saying.
Have I sent you the machete clip? It's like you understand when I told my friends on the day of 7/13, I'm like, this is fake. They were like mocking me, like, oh, controversial man gets shot at, must be fake. They weren't thinking about Kathy Griffin holding Trump's severed head. They weren't thinking about Shakespeare in Central Park, where a Trump lookalike played Julius Caesar and was stabbed to death. They weren't thinking about the clip from Machete, where, I'm sorry, who is that at? Robert De Niro plays a Donald Trump-esque xenophobic senator ranting about immigration as he's pointed out with a sniper rifle in a failed assassination attempt, which Trump, by the way, was speaking about immigration numbers as he was quote unquote shot at. Like, people don't think about these things. Predictive programming. I hate to. That's a very conspiracy.
No. But Leo, and I'm not. I will never denigrate you for that, because that you are like that is. Thank you. No, sir. Like, and I'm not joking. Like, if no one else is gonna thank you, I will thank you for bringing all of those things together.
Most people just call me insane. Like Maddie.
Yeah. People just call you like a
man who thinks he's a woman. Called me insane.
Yeah, like some fox stick faggot. And you aren't. You are a lion of Judah. You are a lion of the Lord our God Christ.
Thanks.
You are a lion of the Lord our God Christ, man. No, seriously, I love you. I love you so much.
Love you too.
Thank you, Shaggy.
Shaggy, love you too, Shaggy. But I'm gonna go.
I love you, Shaggy. We love you, Shaggy.
Love you, Shaggy, man. Hope the stream gets deleted, but I gotta go.
Probably will.
Yeah, we revealed too much.
Guys.
All right. I
God
love
bless.
you
Happy
guys.
Sabbath. Happy Sabbath.
I love you guys.
Bye.
I love you. Cheers.
I guess. Yeah. I guess this is the new Council of Evil. Feels like.
Yeah, I guess it's me, you, and Leo Pirate.
Yeah.
Are we still streaming, brother? It's okay if we are streaming.
That's the new Neo Council of Evil.
It's the new Council of Evil. I'm in the Council of Evil.